Hey, how's it going? It's been a little longer than usual. The weather outside is frightful, but in the Cruz's chaos, oh, it's delightful. Hello and welcome to The House That Happens, sponsored by Shoey's Bar and Grill, the only place to be in suburban Etobicoke. Voted 4 times the best dive bar in all the GTA. It's number 1 in our hearts and opening soon. Hi, I'm Andrew Milani.
Hi, my name is Cruz, and I guess it's the Christmas season. Ho, ho, ho.
It is. This will be our last show before Christmas, Cruz.
Well, make sure at the end that we do all the Christmas wishes that we have to do.
Yeah.
According to. And as Andrew has said, we are once again confined to the chaos that is the Cruz man cave. Yeah, it's pretty chaotic. I was just saying to you now, we were discussing off the air, when you look around this room, what do I need for Christmas?
I don't know. It seems like you got it all down here.
I need my dog not to be so crazy. How's that?
The Conn Smythe trophy from McDonald's back in the day, I think, would agree with you.
Oh, 100% now that's in 2 pieces. We have Stanley as part of the show again, and if you've been listening last couple of weeks, he may come in and jump and say hello at any given time, but he's getting better.
Our unofficial mascot.
Our unofficial mascot, and don't say anything about his collar. It's wonderful. Okay?
Agree to disagree.
Okay, agree to disagree. How was your week?
Long, but I'm happy to be at the weekend. The Christmas rush hit us at work.
Yes.
But we're getting to the end.
Okay, you know what the great thing about it is now that I'm not working and my son was talking about it and a couple of people at work, you always forget when you get to the Christmas season how manic it is, whatever industry you seem to be in.
Well, it depends on what line of work you're in. Some
That's
more
what
than
I'm saying.
others.
Yeah, but like, see, my son's in the what do you call it, the label shipping business, and he's going out the door, and all the people that work for like the Purelators and all them were crazy because of the strike.
Postal strike, yeah.
But we're all getting back to normal, and we will certainly entice everybody with Christmas sayings as we go along, because of course we want everybody to have a very Merry Christmas.
Absolutely.
And a Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate.
It's the first time that, isn't it, Hanukkah and Christmas are on the same day, like the big day? It happens like every Halley's Comet.
Yeah.
Fact check me on it, but something about the moon aligned with the sun, and bingo, everybody's doing it on the same day.
I'm not too well versed in the Hanukkah / Jewish calendar.
Or I'm not really versed in a lot of religion things, to tell you the truth. Okay.
Any Christmas movies, Christmas specials on your list?
Die Hard.
That's
Die Hard. Yeah. Got to see Die Hard. You know what I mean? I may watch Home Alone because I haven't watched it in a few years. But if I do, I will be altered when I watch it, just so I can get the extra Joe Pesci laughs. You know what I mean?
Is Elf on your list? Do you like that one?
It's okay.
Elf is hilarious. Come on.
I do like it, but as I got older, I was not like, even though I'm working on a song called Movies. Some of the ones I watch, yes, I know. And it's Die Hard. The argument is Die Hard really a Christmas movie?
It is a Christmas movie.
Then Trading Places must be a Christmas movie.
I've never seen Trading Places.
What?
Well, also, I would say Die Hard, it's also a Christmas movie because of its themes, too. Because it's about a man saving his family. What's more Christmas than that?
Agreed. You've never seen Trading Places?
No.
You a movie guy?
I know Jamie Lee Curtis gets topless in it. That's about it.
Oh, she's my god. Since we're the same age. Since that first time I seen her coming in Halloween, I was in love. But that's another story.
That's a great movie.
What's that?
Halloween.
Oh yeah, that the original one. She was 20 in that movie or something?
Yeah, she was a kid. Yeah.
But have you never seen Trading Places? Oh, it's just funny. It's just a great movie. There's great lines.
I know the premise.
Yeah, and all the cliches are hilarious, and it's a little over at top at the time, but Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd are both sensational.
I love both of them.
Yeah, and of course, when Jamie Lee's in it, I'd watch her read the phone book. You know what I'm saying? And I will watch the Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yes, that's a classic.
I believe that I am more Snoopy Christmas-oriented than Grinch Christmas oriented. How is that?
Well, with the Grinch, I prefer the original cartoon to the Jim Carrey one, but
yeah, because that was over the top.
That movie's just like, I remember
too long.
Yeah, exactly. We were watching it like 10 years ago. I'm like, oh my god, this movie's still going.
Yes,
like, it's like a 20-30 page like picture book, and you extend it to like, I want to say that movie's almost 2 hours.
It is. It's close to 2 hours. Yeah, it drags at points.
Yeah, and it gets a little like mushy and like a little like sappy.
I look at it like those guys that put out a double album. And they should have cut it to a single album, and it probably would have mastered.
Yeah, save a bunch of those for the for what's it called? And the B-sides.
The B-side record, yeah, throw it out there. But that's okay. But we'll be looking at a lot of things Christmassy, I guess, and I hope you and the family have a good one too. We certainly will.
Absolutely.
Be. Yes.
Got some football and on top of basketball as well, which we will talk about, of course.
100%.
But firstly, would you like to make any shout-outs?
First shout-out I'd like to make is to Zach Sandu, who had a great game for the Oshawa Generals last night. They beat Brantford, I think, about 6-2. I don't understand why they fired their coach when they're in first place, but not only
Wait,
that...
who fired their coach?
Oshawa Generals.
What?
They fired their coach in their first place. Don't tell me I'm wrong, but I heard they fired the coach.
I will. I'm going to search this up right now because that's ludicrous if that's true.
That's what I had heard. That's what was going on. In any event, he had a big game last night. He's been looking really good. But I also want to shout out to my granddaughter, Pepper Hamilton, and her good friend Haley, who showed up for their first OHL junior game last night to watch Zach play and celebrate his birthday. So that's pretty damn cool.
So you are right. So first place Oshawa Generals fire head coach Steve O'Rourke.
What's up with that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Like, I don't know many times when the team's in first place, they've got a good run, they're starting to look like one of the OHL favorites, and suddenly they fire the coach? Woo!
That's bizarre.
I thought I'd brought it up before, but isn't it nuts? First place. Aren't they in first place, Oshawa?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They were in... Did they make it to the finals last year? They did.
Yeah, they did, but they lost to London,
kicked.
Yeah, got their asses
kicked. Because I was at one of the conference finals games, and that was some of the best hockey I've ever seen live.
But in any event, big shout-out to Zach Sandu. I hope you had a couple of beers. I know your dad, your uncle, Serge, you were there too, so everybody had a good time. Shout-out to the Oshawa Generals.
Shout-out to the Oshawa Generals. Any more shout-outs?
I got one more because we're not a political show, but everybody knows that this week our country almost turned into a banana republic for about 10 minutes, if you really paid attention to what was going on in the world. So I've been telling this, and I won't say it again because we are a sports show, not a political show, but the most significant person that's running in our country right now that's going to take us down the road, you may not believe it, because I'm in Ford Nation, and I'm in Etobicoke, and I'm in his riding. Shout out to Doug Ford.
I mean, the States is a little bit of a mess, too. I know they're talking government shutdown down there, too, because I guess they don't want to give money to children's cancer research.
Or whatever stupid things they're doing. I don't know. We won't go too far. The only reason I'm saying is I posted this that Doug Ford was very polarizing. He's a love-hate guy. But if you've been paying attention to what's going on in our world, especially in our country, and who's helping to move us forward, and it showed up this week in all the mayhem that our country was going through, Doug Ford was a front runner on all the things that are good about Canada. He made it on CNN to defend the country.
Okay. Well, he was the only one to stand up there.
Thank you very much. Yep. Got to be noted.
Got a shout out to Robin Leonard. I know he's going through a difficult time now because of his bankruptcy case. Okay, Stanley, you got to chill with that, buddy. He's basically forced to stay in Sweden because of all this.
Yeah.
And you just feel bad for the guy, and you hope that him and his family are going to get through this.
I'm hoping they do too, and I've heard that he's had some stress issues. Is that the way I'm going to put it?
He's had some issues in the past too with like mental health and substance abuse. So
and now you add this on top of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. We're hoping all the best. We hope to see him line up here before maybe he'll be back by the playoffs. I hope it's get cleaned up, but it's pretty muddy, the situation in Sweden.
Yeah, absolutely. Very unfortunate, and we're thinking about him.
Good luck.
Also, Canada named its World Junior Hockey roster. Not led by, but the notable one, Gavin McKenna, the 16-year-old who's leading the WHL in points, made the team.
I heard that. That's very good, but if we missed one minor shout-out.
We could keep going. Well, we can add it after.
Good.
So McKenna, obviously the big one there. And then, of course, my Leaf prospect, Easton Cowan, on the roster as well. No one's named captain yet, but assuming he will be named the captain.
He might be first-line center too, right?
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, why not?
Sure. He's gonna get a lot of ice time. I
think he's gonna show his way. I think we're gonna have to tell Stanley to get that animal out of here, aren't we?
Yeah. Come on, Stanley, it's gotta go. This is making for some wonderful audio,
isn't it? This is great that we get that. Hold on.
There we go.
As I said, we would have chaos in the house of chaos.
Absolutely. Also, the Montreal Alouettes and Edmonton Elks made a quarterback trade in the CFL. Cody Fajardo going from Montreal to Edmonton, and then McLeod Bethel Thompson, the former Argo, going to Montreal.
We were talking about this off air. Isn't this just one arm for another?
Well, it's QB for QB, but
QB, but I'm saying, like, I look at the both styles of play. Is this one of those moves where they just need to change the scenery or the depth chart in the dressing room? Because I thought it was kind of an odd trade. I don't know who's getting the advantage on either side.
Mm-hmm.
They've both played respectably at times, and then they both got sent to the bench at times. So,
well, Fajardo, he's a little older, so I guess Edmonton wants a little bit of an elder statesman to kind of help build up that program.
And they did have a run at the end of the season after they looked just
too
horrific.
little
too late. So maybe he's the type of guy that they need to take the step forward. Because remember at the beginning of the year last year, Edmonton was. Whoa,
Oh yeah, it's been rough ever since. I was gonna say ever since the name change, but even the couple years leading up to that, it's been rough in Big E.
Well, we'll find out anyway when the season starts who goes where and why. But I just thought it was an odd trade just due to the skill level. But you alluding to the point with him being older and more of a veteran presence in the dressing room, that probably makes sense on their side. Definitely.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Caitlin Clark. Her number 22 is going to be retired by University of Iowa on February 2nd. Big shout out to one of our favorites here at the House That Happens. Really helped, along with a few others, helped kind of change the narrative of women's basketball. Turned it into a big moneymaker for not only the NCAA, but probably the WNBA as well.
Did you see the stat of Caitlin Clark? How many games they had 1 million viewers when Caitlin Clark played, as opposed to how many they had 1 million viewers
Like
without
just
her?
everyone, like her versus the field.
Her against the field, 23-0. Great. She moved the needle this year in a big way, in a positive way. With all the other extra bullshit, but I really think that because she was named Athlete of the Year too, read her interview and you might have a completely different perspective on what this girl's all about and all the stuff she's had to been through, how the league got to develop, where she is at this point in time. We at the House That Happens, we're some of the biggest Caitlin Clark fans in the world.
Nothing but respect for Caitlin Clark.
Huge, and I think her number should be retired on the way that it is. Yeah,
I would love to kind of try and see if I can do a trip to see like a WNBA game this summer. See her play.
Yeah, but you know it's going to be. She's going to be in Toronto in a year.
Yeah. But the tickets are going to be ridiculously expensive. It might be better just like make a road trip like to Connecticut or something.
Okay, you got a point there. You got a point. We'll think about that.
We'll think about that, yeah. Any more shout-outs?
One more shout-out, and it's a little bit close to me. As a matter of fact, I sometimes feel emotional when I heard it. But the reason my late son became a Minnesota Viking fan was because of Randy Moss.
Oh, that's right.
So big shout out from the House That Happens on Randy Moss. Godspeed to good health. I know you're going to battle it just the way you battled on the football field. And as I've heard so many times before, you're going to moss this, buddy. But here at the House That Happens, shouting out to great health, Godspeed as quick as possible to the great Randy Moss, who I believe is the greatest wide receiver of all time.
I was going to go there. I was going to say at least the greatest wide receiver of his generation.
Yes. Yeah. Jerry Rice got the numbers all time, but I mean, if we had a game on the line, I would still take Randy Moss over Jerry Rice. And I seen both of them in the prime.
I would say Rice had a better QB throwing to him.
At times.
Wow.
At times. Okay. We got to thank who was this guy? No, he had Randall Cunningham, though, didn't he? They blew the game, the classic game. We know that.
Wow, that was the kicker?
Oh, yeah. Unbelievable. But anyway,
who did they lose to in the championship game that time?
Atlanta went to the Super Bowl and got their asses kicked. I forget
against Denver?
Yes, and everyone knew Minnesota would beat Denver. But that's another story. Good luck, Randy Moss. We're thinking about you here at the House That Happens.
Another story for another day, and we will turn this over, but keeping it in football, college football that is. The playoffs got underway last night with Indiana getting thrashed by Notre Dame, which was obvious if you knew that, because obviously God and Jesus was on Notre Dame's side. So.
Oh, of course he was. I seen him floating around. I think he had a smile on his face. I'm not sure.
A big old smile.
And a hat on. He was trying to be incognito. Okay. He didn't want everyone to know. I think he even had his hair in a ponytail, didn't he? I'm not quite sure. But with this happening, let me tell you this, people. It's already started. We all know what the word was around the rankings and how they decided who was going to make the playoffs here. And Indiana's always been one of those teams that they come out of nowhere. They had a great season. They were 11-1. And everyone says that you should seed the teams according to how they're ranked, not how they finished, which is going to be a contradiction because you got to let the four conferences have their champions. So let's leave that over there. What they're saying is that of course, Notre Dame was ranked a little higher, but they were saying when you let people into this 12-team tournament, are they deserving to be there? Indiana was supposed to be one of the litmus tests.
Yeah.
How did that work out?
Well, they got their asses beat.
Oh,
it wasn't close. It was never really close. They got beaten by a 98-yard run, basically right off the hop.
By the time it was middle of second quarter, I seen no reason. I flipped the game to something else because I said, there's no way that Indiana can win this game. It's too bad. You know what I mean? And I'm not an Indiana fan anyway. Go back to basketball.
Well, you're a Big Ten guy, so you can't like Indiana.
Yeah, and I hate Notre Dame even more. So even though Jesus showed up for the game, it's made, if you look at the bracket now, if you look at it, it's quite interesting where we are going to go with this in the seedings because, first of all, they said what they should do is a reseed or put you in the playoffs according to how you're ranked. So let's look at this.
That's not the NCAA way, though, to reseed.
No, it's just ridiculous. So when you think about it now, okay, Tennessee and Ohio State, those are two big teams. They were close to being ranked the number one at this time of year. When was Arizona State ever to have a chance of being number one? Never. Well, when was Boise State ever a chance of being ranked number one? Never. Now let's look at
well, Boise State was pretty highly ranked the whole season, I'd say.
They got into the top 10, but were they got a sniff at number one? No. Okay, so when you look around,
but they got the best running back in the country.
Oh, no doubt. I wonder how he's going to turn out to be a pro, though. A little small for me.
Small, yeah.
He's a little small for me. But in any event, when you look at who's going to be playing who, it has now looked like if Penn State wins today, which they should. They should. Yes, at Penn State.
But SMU, yeah.
SMU puked it up last time. I think the defense alone should be enough. Low-scoring game. I'd take the under if I was a gambler. But in any event, then Penn State gets Boise State. So that pretty well gets them a ride to the semifinals. As opposed to Tennessee,
I don't know, never say never.
Tennessee playing Ohio State. They go right into Oregon.
Yeah.
So, like, that just makes it odd to me. You know how I'm saying, like, how they ranked? I think they should have done a re-ranking, especially with Indiana getting their ass kicked. It's all the pundits said, hey, there's going to be a realignment. They're going to have to redo this because everybody thought that Notre Dame would beat Indiana. They didn't know they were going to crush them. And so what does that do for your belief in the rankings? I mean,
although if you looked at the data, you might have guessed that Indiana.
I wasn't betting on Indiana.
Yeah, exactly. The only other time they played stiff competition, Ohio State, they got thrashed again.
There you go. So, but that's what I'm saying. So look what they're opposed to. Tennessee plays Ohio State. Tennessee was ranked.
Should be a good game.
They were ranked number one for a couple weeks this year. Ohio State was ranked number one, I think, for a nanosecond until they lost to Oregon by 1 point in Oregon.
Yeah. And then Oregon was number one since, and they haven't looked back.
Okay, so there you go. Arguably, 3 of the top 5 teams in the country all season are going to wipe each other out before you get to the semifinals. That's kind of weird, don't you think?
Well, I mean, if you're going to give the top 4 at a conference championship, the conference champions, though, you're going to have good teams playing each other in this first round, though. That's the thing.
Okay, and I agree with that, but I'm just saying the way you go about seeding it, because now what are you going to say? Okay, the SEC isn't as strong as the other conference, blah, 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 blah. I still think it's a weird dichotomy that's going to have to go on because you're going to have to respect the conference championship, but Arizona State is going to get their ass kicked. I don't give a shit what anyone says.
Yeah, they're gonna lose to Texas, you would think.
They're going to lose.
Although,
no,
I would give Clemson a little bit of a chance just because of the experience that coach has. He knows he's know what buttons to push there.
Yes, he's a very good big game coach. So I'm not saying that they can't win, but even then, I think Clemson would beat Arizona State.
Oh, exactly.
So, I don't want to downplay Arizona State, which is what I'm doing anyway. But the bottom line, what I'm getting at it ultimately.
Well, the Big 12 isn't exactly a big football conference.
They're trying to get back. Once upon a time, they were. They were huge.
So they're basketball now. That's what.
They're trying to be, yeah.
They're basketball conference, yeah.
I guess. Well, with Kansas and all them, yes.
Yeah.
In any event, and like I said, that's where you're going to have to get over it. And then that dilutes the whole situation because the SEC and the Big Ten are going to say, we're gods anyway. So it's going to eventually boil down to the Big Ten SEC Invitational. Is that how we're going to go? That way, if you're Arizona and you win your conference, you're automatically in, but you're going to be seeded in a way that you're not going to automatically get one shot at getting to the semifinals when there's 8 teams playing behind you that are better. You know what I mean? I think they're going to have to fix that up.
But but I don't even know if there is a good way to fix this because it's a 12-team tournament. You're going to have to face good teams eventually.
Okay, so let's do it in a way that's a matter. So let's just quickly run down.
So how do you change it?
I think that what you do is I don't know. I'm going to call Snoopy. He always sells these products.
I think it's fine the way it is.
I don't know. Okay, just to go down really quickly, let's look at Arizona State. Texas, Tennessee, Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame, and Georgia. If any of those teams played Arizona State, who would you bet on?
Not Arizona State.
Thank you very much. So that's my point. There's 7 teams that have to get to Arizona State when we know that they're getting beat by all of those teams.
Okay, but you also want to reward the conference champions.
So you get in. You get in.
Okay.
And then
okay.
You get in. And then according to the rankings, we'll put you in. Like, I mean, who should be in there? Georgia or freaking Arizona State?
They're both in.
Okay, they're both in, but Georgia's got to play a play-in game.
No, they don't. They got to bye.
Oh, yeah, they did get the bye.
They're going to play Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl on New Year's.
Tennessee's lost to Georgia, and they were ranked higher. So one of those teams could have been moved up too. According to the rankings and their strength of schedule and all the criterion that you need to meet to make the playoffs in any event. And I think what they did to validate what they were doing, which is key in the argument next year, is leaving Alabama off. Save them from help them keep this seeding the way it is, because they said they respected this. According to this, we can't respect all things at all time. So Alabama was a
3-loss team, yeah.
3-loss team that went out. So, but what if Georgia had lost to Tennessee? They would have been a 3-team loss.
Well, there you go.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. I think the greatest thing is that Georgia beat Tennessee, and that just saved a lot of the shit that the committee had to deal with. And then that way they could put in SMU and say, see, we're not catering. You know what I mean? Is that how it worked?
Well, I mean, it worked out.
We could go on for days.
Yeah.
We could go on for days. You know what I mean? In any event, I think it's going to be an interesting day today. I'm really looking forward to Tennessee and Ohio State, which means I will be Switzerland in that game because, first of all, I hate the color of Tennessee's uniforms, and Peyton Manning played there. And I hate Ohio State.
Oh, we know that.
I hate Ohio State. And I'm still saying I do believe it'll be Ohio State and Georgia in the final. I'm sticking to that.
I don't think that's a possibility, though. Aren't they on the same side of the bracket?
No, look at they're on the opposite. It could. That's what I think they did. See, Ohio State would have to play Oregon, then they would go on. If they beat Oregon, then they'd have to play. Yeah, those guys would go on. So because look, they're on the opposite end. Gonzaga's Georgia's on the bottom half.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And I'm not saying that they didn't set it up like that, but this is the NCAA we're talking about. Another factor that we could throw in. Isn't it interesting that 2 of the biggest teams in the country, they have lined up to play a possibility for the national championship? And
Ohio State and Georgia?
Yep. Which would be a great national championship game. The thing they did do right was like make a team go north, make a team from the north go south. They were granted their things, and it was interesting because they had Indiana against Notre Dame, and we all know where Notre Dame is, so there's that kind of rivalry.
It's the Battle of Indiana.
Yeah, so it was all kind of cool how they got there. But everybody watched the games. It should be interesting. I guess we'll have a lot to say next week when all these games are over.
Yeah, absolutely, and we can tee up the quarterfinals, which are going to be when the bowl games start, basically. So Notre Dame will play Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. That's going to be January 1st. There's Ohio State, Tennessee today. They'll play winner of that plays Oregon in the Rose Bowl. Yep. Penn State versus SMU. Winner of that plays Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl on New Year's Eve. Then, of course, Texas Clemson today. Winner of that will play Arizona State in the Peach Bowl.
Should be interesting.
And then this is all leading up to the national championship, January 20th in Atlanta. So a couple big games there in Atlanta.
100%. I will be watching.
I will too. Also of note, Navy upsetting Army 31-13 last Saturday. Army's Bryson Daly, only 69 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions after only throwing 1 interception all year. But Navy's Blake Horvath, big shout out to him, 107 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 204 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns.
Guy was amazing. And part of the reason, and I was
And Navy's got those great helmets too.
Oh, they look great out there. This was a huge upset. People don't understand because
Army was ranked.
Yes, and not only that, if they had beat Notre Dame, they had a shot at the playoffs. I think part of the
they got smacked by Notre Dame though.
Oh yeah, so that put it over with. In any event, one of the things that made it interesting. What were we just saying about Army?
Army, yeah.
A couple of their guys sat,
I didn't know that.
I had faux pas injuries. And apparently they got invited to a bowl game, and it's questionable with some of these guys because they're already getting trained. They're already working out for NFL teams.
So are they going to play in that bowl game?
That's up in the air.
Oh, okay.
It's up in the air. And there's a few guys that aren't going to play on various teams that aren't playing. Alabama's got a couple guys sitting out.
Yeah. We saw this last year. I mean, a lot of people were using that for FSU last year as an excuse why they got killed in their bowl game. After they whined and bitched and moaned that they didn't get into the playoff.
And look what happened to them this year. You know what I mean? Be careful what you wish for. In any event, it's going to be even more chaos now because we all know that Bill Belichick's now the coach of the North Carolina. And they say the mayhem that's going on in the portal right now is insane.
I don't get how the portal's open when playoffs is still going on, though. They got to fix that.
Well, and they got to have a cap on things. Like obviously, Belichick's have talked to the officials because they say he's lined up for the new system. Like as they're saying,
it's
March,
like the NFL basically. He's saying it's like free agency.
Yeah. So March they're going to. I think it's March or April. The NCAA is sitting down and saying this is how we're going to operate.
Well, I know there's something like. It's still got to get passed, I guess. But I guess right now the way it is, the team, or the university, or the sports associations, I guess, and the universities don't determine the NIL money. It's like another party that determines that.
State.
That's stupid. That's
the state.
I know they're gonna work to fix that because
that's what they're saying. You can only do this much. You can do this in Texas, but you can't do it in Colorado.
Yeah.
You can do this in Utah, but you can't do it in New York. It's just a weird setup. So the word around the campfire, which blows my mind, is it's going to be a $20 million salary cap for all teams, no matter what you are. $20 million. That means
I don't mind that.
Kids at 15 are going to be. It's going to be like soccer. We were talking about how they get that kid from some village in Brazil and they sign him at 14.
Yeah, they put him in the academy.
Yeah. This is what's going to happen in the NFL. I can see it coming, which Belichick would be a master of doing because if he's nothing else, he's a great teacher.
Him and Michael Lombardi.
And, what a combo! They've already won Super Bowls.
There you go. There you go. And also a shout out to the Pop-Tarts Bowl, my favorite bowl game, of course. I mean, I love Pop-Tarts. My only complaint about Pop-Tarts is in Canada, we don't have the unfrosted Pop-Tarts.
Oh, right.
In the States, like when we were in Pittsburgh last year, I got a big box of those. Those are amazing because the frosting on them is a little too much, but that's neither here nor there. What is here and there is that the Pop-Tarts Bowl trophy is a functional toaster.
That's amazing.
Which is hilarious.
I want
and amazing.
One. I want one to tell you.
And it's like a football with and the Pop-Tarts, the toast pops out. That's amazing.
God, that's great marketing. That's really good marketing.
And this year they'll get to choose their flavor, I think.
Is that what it's all it is? Okay. I love those little nuances that the Yanks add to their little advertising is basically what it is. I haven't had a Pop-Tart in a while. I'm going to have to get some. Next
time I'm in the States, I'll get you some unfrosted ones if you want.
Well, I went to the States a lot when I was a kid, so that's what I remember them by. But I'm a sugar junkie. That's all I need is more sugar.
That's all I'll get you the unfrosted ones.
Yeah. Okay. I might be safe.
All right, we'll move this on to Formula One, where it is official now. Sergio Perez out at Red Bull. He is replaced by Liam Lawson at Red Bull, so that means there's a seat open at Red Bull Junior. Oh, wait, that got filled too. Isaac Hadjar, Red Bull's top prospect in Formula 2, gets that seat. He will be Yuki Tsunoda's teammate.
I think that's kind of cool. You know what? This is one of the things I've learned about F1. The drivers aren't even born yet, but they're going to be drivers. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's interesting how that goes. Like the lineage of drivers and how they come along. Like this Liam guy, he's not no slouch.
No.
You know what I mean? Like he's earned his position to be there. Like he was Max 5 years ago or whenever Max was 5 years ago. Would you say that?
Nah, I don't know if he was so prolific as that. I'm actually a little worried that this could be a Pierre Gasly 2.0 situation with Red Bull where you have a guy... He's undeniably got talent.
Oh, yeah.
But are they just rushing him up there too quickly and not putting him in a position to succeed?
Well, we're going to have to see his skills. Isn't that what
Because how many F1 races does he have under his belt? Not even 15, I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
No. So that should be interesting.
I mean, he's not going to crash the car. We know that.
Oh, 100%, which is good.
Although, I mean, I know what the drivers have complained before about being Max's teammate is that Max likes the car to be like super sensitive. So like he was, if you turn a little bit, it's, whatever. But, and as the season goes on, the car development goes on, it becomes more and more extreme like that. And other drivers like Albon has talked about this. Probably, I think Gasly and probably Perez have talked about this too. It was less a Ricardo thing, more an Albon thing. Once it was like Max is like the guy.
Yeah.
So. And I'm a little bit worried that Liam is going to be having trouble keeping up with that because the car is being made for one person to drive.
Point well taken.
Yeah.
Well, if you have skills, then you're going to have to learn to come along. You're like the second line center. Do your job.
Wow.
Is that what it is? Anyways.
But Red Bull, we know this. It's the pressure cooker for number 2 drivers.
100%. Probably more pressure on you than the number 1 guy at times.
Yeah, because you got to keep up, and it's not the easiest when you're driving a car that's on a knife's edge. I like Liam Lawson.
I'd like to have that experience.
Sure.
I would love to have that experience. But we'll find out. We're still, 6 weeks away before we start again?
Oh, more. Like a couple months. I think in March it begins.
I'm loving it so much. Anyways, I'm hoping that, I like Gasly. So I hope he has a good year. He's a favorite at the house that happens. So let's hope he keeps smiling.
Yeah. But obviously, best of luck to Liam Lawson and Isaac Hadjar. Looking forward to seeing Hadjar's debut in Formula One. I know he had been, I believe he finished 2nd in F2 last year.
Yep.
And then, of course, Sergio Perez. I hope he lands back on his feet again. Red Bull kind of screwed him, giving him that contract because now he can't find a spot with the midfield team. But hopefully next year he can find the door.
I think he will. He's still not that old.
No.
So he's still got the opportunity.
With the midfield team, I think he could actually be quite successful again.
Good luck to you, Sergio. I did like you while you were there. Too bad things didn't work out for you.
No, absolutely. We will turn this over to Major League Baseball, where the Yankees continue to add, getting Cody Bellinger and $5 million from the Cubs.
Keep going.
And it looks like they're on the way to landing a blockbuster with the St. Louis Cardinals. Goldschmidt and Arenado potentially on their way to New York.
Oh, and what did we do? We got 2 guys that could throw. I seen P beside their name, so I guess they can throw, right? We're not even going to bring up their names. One guy I've heard of, one guy don't even know who he is. We're supposed to have $700 million out there. Atkins, Shapiro, what are you guys doing? Now we got the Vladdy issue coming up every day. I hear about it. We don't sign him? Come on, we should sign him before he gets a spring training. He should get his $400 million.
Bichette's on the trade block too, but I don't think his value's that high right now.
I don't even think he should be on the trade block.
I agree.
I go with Verducci and say you just run it. If you've gone this far now, Blue Jays, and you didn't put out the money, let's play out the season, see what happens. Worst case scenario, you lose him then, or you trade him at the trade deadline.
Well, position players don't go for a lot at the deadline, though. That's a problem.
Well, then I think I'll gamble. I'll gamble on Bichette. But Vladdy, I'd sign him before spring training. Look what the Yankees are doing. Baltimore isn't going nowhere. The Yankees are in on everything that we're in on. The Red Sox are in on. So I don't know where we're going with this. And Corbin Burns is still out there.
Yeah, and
Tanner Scott's still out there.
And I would just say like Tampa Bay too. They're not going to stay in the dumpster for long.
No, they're going to do their formula is going to be the way they're going to do it.
That an off year.
Okay, so I heard that Teoscar Hernandez already turned down a 3-year contract from I don't know who. Unidentified sources have said. But
I heard he wants a 3-year deal, though.
He wants a 3-year deal, and I heard that he has talked to the Toronto people. What do you think that is, a pipe dream?
I don't think they want him back.
But
I want him back.
I want him back.
I don't think Shatkins want him back, though.
Oh, come on. Guys, you made a mistake letting him go in the first place. We know that. Maybe you can make a little recovery, make the fans happy.
Well, I mean, that trade wasn't so bad as the Gurriel one.
Oh, that one
we know
was
that.
Worse. We got that. But I'm just saying we know he can hit. We're not going to worry. We got all the defense we need, remember? We need offense. So,
I know we keep trading for more.
Yeah, so our ERA will be 2, but we only score 1 run a game.
And our batting average is going to be barely over 200.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm worried about. But in any event, we're just screaming at the management of the Blue Jays. We don't want a shitty season. We want Vladdy to be signed before spring training and hope the prospects continue on because that's our only chance.
Absolutely.
However, if we got one more starter, we have to realize one thing about Toronto. If we get one more starter and Francis continues to improve the way that he's done, we'll have the best starting rotation in the American League East. That's
sure.
But that's not saying anything right now because we don't know if they're going to hit. Spring training, another thing 6 weeks away.
Yep.
Here we go.
I'm not even going to make any promises about going to spring training this year if this team keeps pissing me off. But either way, we'll move this on to the PWHL, where Toronto is off to a little bit of a rough start. Only 1 win in their first 4 games. They lost to the New York Sirens on Wednesday. They have Montreal tonight, and they have Boston on Friday. A little bit of a weird schedule for the PWHL.
That's what I keep saying. Now, what we're going to do is, because it's only 4 games in, and the games are sporadic. I'm glad TSN is playing them. If you want to watch PWHL games, they're on for you to see because I'm going to start there.
They stream them free on YouTube as well, I believe.
Yeah. In any event, we're going to wait till the 10-game point and see if we get a read on what's going on, because as much as they're pumping up this league, what you're talking about, the scheduling, that's number one for me. Like, do we have a consistent time where we're going to see the games? And if you're going to promote the game so we get it up to a higher level for fans,
well, I think once
I don't know how they're going to do it.
I think once we had the schedule is out there, so I mean, and I mean it's a 38 game schedule or something like that.
Yeah,
it's gonna have to. You're gonna have to get games in there at some point.
Agreed.
I think it's, I don't know, like past New Year's or past whatever they like load the
ramp
schedule.
it up.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe. Okay, then I'll wait and see a little more consistent. Like you say, they're playing on tonight and they don't play till Friday. That's a week away. What do we do? Forget about them?
And before this Wednesday, Toronto was off for like over
10
a week.
10 days.
Yeah.
9 days. They were out for 9 days, and then that's what I said when we get to the 10-game point. I want to say a little bit more. Like maybe it'll justify some of the things I'm saying, or maybe I'll be able to take them off the table. You know what I mean? But there's a few things running around in my head about the PWHL that I'd like to yell about, but I think it's just a little bit too early. What I'm really what I'm really saying about is the marketing is heavy. Okay, I like that. They're promoting it as much as they can, but you have to have a consistent place for people to see the product in order for them to get involved. You know what I mean? You can't. This ain't football. You can't wait
well, even football, it's like, you know where it is, Sunday.
Hey, you got it. You know, on your Thursday night or whatever the case may be. But I'm thinking that would be a huge step, in my opinion, to increase fan participation if there was more of a regular scheduling. But we'll get to that down the road.
Still a long way to go to PWHL. Toronto, obviously, they're dead last right now. But they had a rough start to the season last year. So, I mean, it's not the spot you want to find yourself in consistently. But, I mean, Toronto's got a lot of talent. So
another reason I want to wait till the 10-game point in the season is because there's some interesting storylines that we may be able to bring up by the 10-game point in the season, and that includes the nastiness between players that has transformed to the NHL to the PWHL.
Okay, we'll hear more about that later.
Yes, we will. Remember, I said it here first.
We'll move this along to our soccer report, where
Arsenal.
Give me a break. This guy, Cruz, you'll find out if you keep following soccer about the Arsenal depression.
I heard about it too. A couple of guys were talking about it at the bar the other night because someone, oh God, I forget his name. Thank you for watching. But no, I don't know a lot about soccer. You know, I don't. I'm learning as we go along, but he gets a kick out of the fact that the teams that I jump up and yell for, he tells me, those teams get kicked in the face. Do you know where their money came from? Do you know what they're doing? Okay, I'm learning more, but continue. Sorry.
So we'll start off with the Premier League, where Liverpool survived an early red card, scoring the 86th minute to get a 2-2 draw versus Fulham. Not Fulham, Stephen. Thank you for that tip. Chelsea won against Brentford. My Chelsea won against Brentford 2-1. Arsenal manages a 0-0 draw versus Everton at home, despite 77% possession and holding Everton to just 2 shots and 0 on goal.
Well, they should have hit the net. I went and looked at the highlights that they never hit the net. You know how many they kicked over the net? Come on, Arsenal, you're gunners. Put that in the net. No, they were, you know, you get those little preview things.
Yeah.
And I went on it and I was checking them out. Like, the field was tilted. It was unbelievable.
Well, Everton's not very good. Steven's a fan. He could tell you that.
The pitch was on one direction going that way, but it was bad shooting, in my opinion. Anyways, you know what I mean? And there was some
or just bad shot selection.
Or bad shots. That's what anyway, because guys were rushing it, especially in the last 20 minutes, because they were pushing for that goal because they thought they could put them away, but they didn't.
It did not.
Shout out to Everton for holding on like that.
Absolutely. Only 23%, and you still get the draw on the road.
On the road.
Manchester City blew a 1-0 lead late versus Manchester United, the rivals, with a penalty in the 88th minute and the winner by Diallo in the 90th minute. It's the 8th loss in the last 11 games for Man City.
I called up the Gallagher brothers. I said, what's going on?
How they feeling?
They're not good. No. Noel's a little pissed.
Little?
He's not quite happy. It might affect his ability to play on the tour, for all I know. But it's weird. I've been a man trying to yell for Man City for so long, and look what maybe I've jinxed
so
them.
long. What do you mean, 2 weeks?
6 months.
Your favorite team in light blue?
Yeah, but Too bad about those other uniforms. Maybe I'll take those a little more. I don't know. But anyways, they're not. Considering when we started this season where they were talked about in their start.
They were the best team out of the gate.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What's happened? Like, is it in the dressing room? Is it style of play? I don't know.
I don't know, but everything started with the loss in the EPL Cup. They got knocked out early. I don't know what that did to them, but that seems to be the whole crux of the issue. Yeah,
that's the root of the problem so far. But they're still hanging in the Premier League. They're not out of it or anything like that.
No, but it's a worrisome trend.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It's hurt their standing in Champions League as well.
Yes.
They're not going to get one of those top 8 seeds.
No, doesn't look like that at all. But that's what I'm saying. Our boys Arsenal, though, they're right up there in the Premier League.
Yeah, they're right.
And they're not looking ugly in the Champions League.
No. Well, we're not going to talk Champions League because that didn't happen. But obviously, that's something to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping it in Premier League. Nottingham Forest came back from 1-0 with goals in the 87th and 93rd to secure a home win versus Aston Villa and passed Man City for 4th place.
Yep.
Tottenham crushed Southampton 5-0. And early surprise team Brighton lost 3-1 versus Crystal Palace. Brighton now 1-2-2 in their last 5 games. They have fallen to 10th place.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the game of the weekend for the Premier League is tomorrow. That'll be Tottenham-Liverpool. So keep an eye out for that one.
Huge game. Is it in Tottenham?
It is in Tottenham.
Ooh, okay. They have a much better record at home.
Absolutely.
They have much better record at home.
Looking at the table, though, Liverpool still sitting in first place. Chelsea 2 points behind them, but Liverpool has a game in hand on them. Nottingham Forest sitting in 3rd place right now. They got a win today, which kind of propelled them up there.
Does Robin Hood play for them?
Might as well.
Yeah.
Arsenal slips down to 4th place, although they have a game in hand on Nottingham Forest, so they'll have a chance to pass them. Aston Villa, 5th place right now.
Are they a team?
They're a team.
But I mean, like, traditionally.
They're kind of like traditionally a midfield team.
Yeah, because I've been heard a couple of guys.
But they've been on their way up recently.
Yeah, the guys on the TV said they could be a surprise. They could be a sleeper. One of the experts on soccer is one of his sleepers for the year. And I go, I didn't even know Aston Villa. Who are these guys?
Well, they have the keeper who's the Argentinian national keeper, right?
Oh, that guy's good.
Yeah, he is very good.
Yeah, that helps a lot. Because, as you get more into understanding, like, there's just certain teams, like if you look at any sport, there's certain teams you always hear of. So you always expect them to be there. Then you hear that team like Aston Villa. Who are these guys? I don't know. Like, there's a couple teams in the German league. I'm looking at their names going, who are these guys? I don't even know who they are. But they're certainly rising up and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Moving into Serie A, Atalanta scored a second-half goal to win 1-0 at Cagliari to secure their 10th Serie A game in a row. Atalanta really on 10 games in a row. Yeah, insane. Yeah. And they won the Europa League last year. They're doing well in Champions League. They could be the team of the year.
Are they? Have they won before?
I don't think they've won. I don't think they've ever won Serie A before.
No,
they've always been like
Toronto Maple Leafs. They get there and get knocked out.
Well, not even. Like, Leafs have won championships. Okay. Atalanta's like a lower mid team.
They've never won anything of significance.
Like that Europa League one, I think, was like their first one. Yeah.
Okay.
Napoli came through on the road to win 3-1 at Udinese. Inter crushes Lazio at Lazio 6-0 with 6 different goal scorers.
It's a good day at the office.
Yeah. Juventus managed to save a 2-2 draw at home versus Venezia thanks to a 95th minute penalty. Milan drew versus Genoa 0-0. Roma loses 2-0 at Como, goals in the 93rd and 97th minute. Roma had 62% possession and just 1 shot on goal. Roma only 2 points up on a relegation spot right now.
Wow.
And that's Roma.
Yeah, they're traditionally somebody, right? You know what I think is a great stat in soccer, though? I think that possession stat, now that we learn it more, like I'm learning more stats. Like, I mean, the shots thing are significant. You got to hit the goalie, whatever. And I bet you if they had a shot attempt thing in that...
well, shots are basically shot attempts in soccer.
Yeah.
Because they count shots and shots on goal.
And shots on goal. But I think it's a little bit more significant than it is in hockey.
Well, I mean...
I respect it more. How's that?
Fine.
I'll respect it more. That's what I'm saying.
But the way hockey is now, it's... I mean, not to get too off topic, but it is kind of similar. Because, like, the margins are so thin...
Very.
Where it kind of, like, I can see why shots on goal and versus shot attempts is an important thing to keep an eye on.
Well, I like it more in soccer because I said you add that with possession time, and it seems to be more significant stat for me. Like in the game we were just talking about, when they had all those shots at the end and they couldn't win. Who had 72%? I forget. I lost my train of thought.
The Arsenal?
Yeah, like that game there. Like if you looked at the numbers, it said they were significantly better than the other team, but you could take it in with their shot attempts or whatever. Well, because I seen the highlights. They were firing the ball from all over the place. Only got a few shots on goal.
Yeah.
Most of them were flying all the way around. And like you said, ill-advised shots at time, but it's an attempt, and I would just respect it a little bit more.
Well, I would just say, too, if it's like, even if you miss the net, it's not necessarily a bad shot.
No.
Because if the goalie's, covering his ground well and you miss, like in soccer, if you miss by like that top corner by less than a foot, I would say that's not a bad shot.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And
that seems like hockey too now, where if the goalie's covering it and you're going for that little spot over the shoulder and you miss by just a couple inches over the crossbar. I'm not going to say that's a bad shot.
I'll give you the goal post. Anything else besides that, you whiffed. But it's interesting when you compare notes. I'm just saying that I appreciate that a little bit more in soccer than I do in hockey. That's all.
The other day, Milan beat Verona at Verona 1-0. Looking at the table, Atalanta, that tremendous win streak has propelled them to first place in Serie A. But only 2 points behind them is Napoli. A point behind Napoli is Inter. A few points behind Inter is Fiorentina, then Lazio, then Juve. Bologna and Milan kind of next in line. Milan, I don't know. They're a frustrating team to follow.
I would be too. They're a big money team too, right?
Sure. Yeah. The last 15 years has been a little rough for them.
Well, they better pick it up.
Yeah.
Time is coming.
They're very much like the Leafs, I would say. It's appropriate that I follow them.
Okay.
Moving over to La Liga, Barcelona blew it versus Leganes 1-0 at home despite 80% possession and 20 shots.
That was a weird game.
But they only matched 4 on goal out of those 20, so.
Let's get back to the shot attempts.
Yamal is out at least a month now with an ankle injury,
That's
though.
A boo.
And it looks like he had been playing hurt, and they're just like, I guess using this break now to just kind of like, hey, kid, get home, heal it.
Yeah. But I still say Barcelona is class of everything that's going on right now. I mean, they stubbed their toe. That happens in games, right? And that was on the road, wasn't it?
That was at home.
Oh, boo, guys.
Yeah, and then, Barcelona still less questions than Real Madrid, I would say.
Oh, 100%. I think after all said and done, that Barcelona is going to be there.
Hey, I put a bet on them to win Champions League, and I'm not going to cash out.
No, don't do that.
No. Real Madrid only managed a 3-3 draw at Rayo Vallecano. And then Atletico Madrid bested Getafe 1-0. The game of this weekend, I would say, is Barcelona-Atletico Madrid in Barcelona.
When is that? Tomorrow?
I believe that is tomorrow. No, it's today, 3 p.m.
I will watch that. I'll put that on. I got it on the box.
And then these are the last games before the new year.
Yeah.
There's one game on January 3rd as well, but the rest of the league is back January 10, 11, 12. Looking at the table, Barcelona currently sitting in first place with 38 points. Atletico Madrid tied for them with points, but they got a game in hand. So if they beat Barcelona today, that would be absolutely huge.
Where's the game at?
In Barcelona.
Oh, okay.
And then Real Madrid just a point behind Barcelona, but with that game in hand. So La Liga very much up in the air right now as we speak.
How many people will be at that game in Barcelona today? 60,000?
Oh, whatever their capacity is.
That's what I'm wondering.
Sure.
They got a big stadium, though, don't they? They played football there, didn't they, once? Is it Barcelona? They played a game in Spain yet?
They play a game in Spain? I'm not sure.
No, I think it was in Germany. I'm thinking of
They've done
Munich.
a few Germany games. I don't know if they've ever done Spain.
No, I don't think they have.
Moving over to the Bundesliga, Bayern loses 2-1 at Mainz despite 69% possession. Bayer Leverkusen got the 2-0 win at Augsburg and are now only 4 points back of first. Frankfurt loses at RB Leipzig 2-1. Dortmund drew versus Hoffenheim 1-0 after allowing a goal in the 91st minute. And yesterday, Bayern got a 5-1 win versus RB Leipzig. And the last match day before January 10th is this weekend, and obviously Bundesliga kind of infamous for their breaks, so there's going to have a little bit of an extended break after this weekend.
The thing about that is you were talking about, they do play less games, right?
Because there's less teams in the league.
Yeah.
That meant the French league, it's only 18 as opposed to 20.
And all these guys got big stadiums, right?
Well, the big teams have big stadiums. The teams that you would think.
Okay, but what? Okay, so now we're looking here. I just want to take a quick look. Like when you're going down to somebody like Wolfsburg, they have a 50,000 seat stadium. No,
Wolfsburg is like a pretty big team, so I don't know. Let me look that up quickly.
because I don't even know what cities these guys all play in it. Sometimes, you know what I mean. And I'm trying to wondering because I know those teams at the top, like Bayern Munich and Leverkusen and all those guys. They got big stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's 60,000 seat capacity here, which just tells you the level of popularity around the world, so to speak.
Yeah, so Wolfsburg, that's actually the name of the city.
Oh, it is.
And they hold 30,000 in that stadium.
Okay.
So, like, not huge.
30,000 is good. 30,000. If you got 30,000 showing up, you're making money.
But looking at the table, Bayern Munich in first place by 7 points right now, but all the teams, or Bayer Leverkusen especially, with the game in hand on them. But Munich's in first place. Big surprise. No one called that.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to change for the rest of the season, personally.
No. Moving it over to Ligue 1, PSG top Lyon 3-1 in dominating fashion. Monaco can score in a 0-0 draw at Reims, despite 64% possession and holding Reims to 0 shots on goal. Lille had a 1-1 draw at Marseille with an 87th minute stunner. And looking at the table for said Ligue 1, I mean, PSG's top of the table, no surprise there.
No.
10-point lead on Marseille, although Marseille has a game in hand on them.
Yeah, but that's not going to change by the end of the year.
Probably not.
Are they? They're like obviously now front runner favorites, the whole 9 yards in their league, right? They should
PSG?
be. Yeah.
Every year they are.
Okay.
You've
Money
heard my
changes. I know.
You've heard my Farmers League joke about the Ligue 1.
Yeah.
But our boy Jonathan David leads the league with 11 goals, although I know some Bundesliga teams have been kind of circling the wagons with him.
Really?
Yeah, and we got the transfer window. January 1st it opens, right around the corner.
That could be interesting, right?
I know Davies, him to Real Madrid talks, I imagine, to pick up again as well.
That's big money in his pocket.
Yeah.
Eh? Wow.
Canadian in La Liga, that'd be cool.
Yep. At that money, in that position.
And the French League, Ligue 1, is off until January 3rd, 4th, and 5th. One thing I also wanted to note, I did not know about this until recently. So Italy and Spain are both having their Super Cups within a 4-team single knockout format in Saudi Arabia.
What's that all about?
I have no idea. So traditionally, the Super Cups are played before the start of the season, so like in August, and it's the league winner of last year versus the cup winner of last year. Now they're doing it where I guess these two, because I guess they need to bring in some gimmick if you're going to do it in Saudi Arabia. So it's a 4-team knockout tournament, so it's like the winners and the runner-ups now of each one. And for Italy, it's going to be Inter, Juve, Milan, and Atalanta. That's January 2nd through 6th. And then for Spain, it's Athletic Bilbao, Real Madrid, Mallorca, and Barcelona will play January 8th through 12th.
That's big money, bro. That's what went to Saudi Arabia. I was shocked. I was wondering what you were thinking when I heard that this Cups was in Saudi Arabia. My jaw dropped. I went, ooh.
First of all, I was like, well, it's a 4-team knockout format. I'm like, oh, then they're playing a domestic Super Cup in Saudi Arabia. I'm like, this makes, it makes sense because of the money, I guess. But like, it's still absurd. It's absolutely absurd.
Yeah, but I heard this is one of the time of the years not so hot in Saudi Arabia either. When is it not hot in Saudi Arabia?
So what? Like,
I don't know. There was a variety. Like, people are trying to justify the amount of reasons why it's gone to Saudi Arabia, and we all know what the real reason is. So don't tell me any other reason because you're full of shit. Bottom line was the Saudis laid down the cash. They want it there.
So is this going to be like a test run for like England and other countries now? Because that's where my mind immediately went. If this is successful next year, the Premier League is going to send 4 teams to Saudi Arabia, I guess.
No, not non-disclosure on the money.
Of course.
Okay, so non-disclosure. So guess what? When you're a team like that, and that's an influx of cash unexpectedly, what are you going to say? No, I don't want the bag? Of course you're going to take it. That's what's going on here. And Saudi Arabia is just trying to have a bigger presence because they got World Cup shit coming on. In what, 8 years? Or whatever, 10 years from now, they got World Cup on there. So they want to increase their soccer presence. They got Ronaldo playing there.
And Neymar. I know Neymar's, we were talking about this last night, me and my buddy Stefan. Neymar's team, I know, is apparently crushing it in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, why wouldn't they be?
Well, not Ronaldo's team.
Yeah, but I heard he's got a shittier team. He's the only guy on the team that's any good. That's what they're saying. Is there any chance to see these games? I guess you got to see them on Sky, right?
I'm sure there's a way to find. I don't know if it's on Sky. I doubt it, but
there's
some way to
see the games. Don't worry about it. I'm not hitting the button on my PVR.
I'm curious.
Yeah, well, so am I. That's what makes me see. If it was on, I'd take a gander over there. And they're playing in big stadiums there too, aren't they?
Oh yeah, especially I believe. I can't remember if it's the Spanish or the Italian one. Like they're playing in like the big stadium there.
Yeah, that's I heard. That's 70,000 or something.
Yeah.
So there's going to be add that crowd, add that money, add the teams that are going to travel because they got those teams. They got followers. What's a better place than go to Saudi Arabia if you can look the other way at everything else that's going on?
I would say like Orlando, but it's bowl game season there.
There you go. And it just would
Hawaii maybe.
Yeah. Well, why not? Why not?
Anything else you want to add for soccer?
No, I just think that I'm looking forward to the Champions League kicking up again.
Yeah, it's not going to be till January, though.
Yeah, it's a ways to go, but it's interesting, especially the talk about, especially now that you're getting to a point where you're separating the pack. Should be interesting.
Yeah, domestic cups are kind of wrapping up too, but I don't want to get too much into that. Otherwise, we're going to be way too much soccer. Once we get to I think the semifinals of the domestic cups is when I'm going to start bringing them up on the show. But that's going to be well into New Year, February, March. We're talking here.
Okay.
Either way, we'll move this into another sport that's very popular in Europe, but of course is the big footprint here in North America, the NBA, where we just had a couple.
What big footprint?
Oh, the NBA isn't big?
28% ratings down this year, almost 30-some% since 2021, but continue.
Well, I mean, but talk about, obviously, the NBA, social media, it's still huge. I don't think their merchandising sales have taken a hit.
What's that?
Merchandising.
No, that's held. That's held. It on there's metrics that say they're okay, except that ESPN's crying.
Well, that's ESPN.
And TNT. I don't know. My heart bleeds purple piss for ESPN, so I'm not worried about that. I'm just saying that ratings are down significantly, that people are talking about it. You know what I mean?
Sure. But we had the NBA Cup this past week. The Thunder beat the Rockets in their semifinal, 111-96. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a 32-8-6, 5-1 stat line. He was tremendous in that one. Thunder starters, Williams, Hartenstein, Dort, all very good. All of them, except for Dort, had over 20 points. Dort was at 19, though, with 9 rebounds. He was tremendous. Rockets players, no Rocket player hit 20 points. The highest starters were Jabari Smith and Dylan Brooks with 14 points each. And the Rockets were just awful from three. Fred VanVleet was 1 from 11 from the three-point line with just 8 points in that game.
I know, that killed him. And then we went to the fraud that was the finals.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about the other semis. So the Bucks beat the Hawks 110-102, a much closer game. Yeah. Giannis just a beast in that one, 32, 14, 9, 1, and 4. 4 blocks. Yeah. Damian Lillard, 25, 6, 7, and 3. Trae Young had a tremendous game as well, 35 points, 7 rebounds, 10 assists. Good shooting night. He had a good shooting night, but had 5 turnovers. The Bucks very strong in the second and fourth quarters, which propelled them to victory. And that led to the final, where the Bucks beat the Thunder 97-81. Giannis 26, 19, and 10, and the NBA Cup MVP. But the second half of that game was brutal.
It was unwatchable. Everything I say I hate about the NBA happened in that game. Everything, you know what I mean? No, the defense wasn't bad because when
the defense was great in that game.
I was just going to say, at halftime, I thought, because OKC was only down 4 or 5 at the half, and they were having a rough shooting night, but their defense was solid.
But the problem was the Bucks went on a little bit of a run early in the third quarter, and then after that, the Thunder were just chasing it from then on.
Yeah, because they were trying to catch it up. They forgot their game. They should have stayed in the paint. They all started clanging threes. They tried to do the great catch-up thing about throwing the ball up. We're going to catch up, and then they didn't do it. And Giannis had 3 or 4 tremendous junks just on transition. Bad rebounds down the floor, bang. And I'm still saying, if my team if I'm a coach and we throw up 3 threes in a row and there's over 15 seconds left in the shot clock and we miss, timeout. Timeout. Hey, guys, until you make one in rhythm, get inside. Now they say it's tougher to get inside. Well, I'll take my chances of getting 6 points on 5 possessions instead of getting none in 5 possessions. You know what I'm saying? That's just my take on it. You know what I mean? Which tells me that the NBA Cup is kind of fraudulent. Conned me into it. I got excited a bit, but it didn't, the meter did not go up on the ratings. That was the interesting thing compared to last year. I think it was a little different because last year it ended up on a Saturday. The championship game was on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
This was in the middle of the week. Another scheduling issue I think that people should think about at the time. You know what I mean?
The floor in Vegas wasn't as nice this year, in my opinion.
No, not at all. Whatever the case may be. The bottom line was Milwaukee got a hard on. They get a banner. Okay, and they say, oh, look what we did. The confetti came down. Whatever bullshit was con, because let's tell you what's really happening. Let's get back to the regular season.
Hold on. I also want to mention Trae Young, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Damian Lillard, and Singh on Houston completed the All-NBA team along with Giannis. All-NBA Cup team.
What's that worth? What do you get for that? The guys got money. End of the bench guys got money.
$500,000 for each of the guys that won for the Bucks.
There you go. Okay, so it's winner take all too, eh?
Yeah.
It's winner take all, which makes it more interesting. So the guy at the end of the bench, 12th man or 15th man, getting $500,000. Merry Christmas.
Exactly.
Okay, so there's all those minutia that's supposed to get you excited. All right, and I'm saying I was kind of, okay, we're getting there. Let's see what happened. The quality of the game in the championship just said everything I hate about basketball went on, and it drove me crazy. And it's not going to get any better till they decide what we're going to do about it. But I've heard you're going to fix basketball.
I have a couple quick tweaks.
Okay.
But I think I can fix a lot of this. But this has got to be something like, this can't just be in the NBA. This has to be implemented at all levels of basketball, grassroots, FIBA. Because the three-pointers, it's ruining the game, how out of control it's
100%.
getting. Or out of control it's gotten. It's past that point.
Wait, 3 games this week. They broke the record for missed threes. What, it went from 56 to 58 to 59 in 1 week.
And the Celtics, I almost said Bruins, the Celtics breaking their own records, basically.
Of missing threes?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's just talk about the value of your league. When they asked Mazzulla, the coach, after the game, he goes, isn't this hard to watch? He goes, I don't watch the games.
I actually kind of like that answer from him.
Well, I know he's that kind of guy.
Well, it's like, hey, but at the same, for him, it's just like, I'm just trying to win games for my team.
Oh, he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, then neither should he, in all fairness.
He's got a ring. He's looking for something to repeat, and I don't see any team that's going to beat him this year. Okay, and I get it. But anyways, continue. How else are you going to fix?
So, a couple changes to the three-point line. So, I want the arc of the three-point line extending. You know how it kind of goes along with the corners? Mm-hmm. Get rid of that. The corner three, it's too easy. Have it extend basically out of bounds so the arc continues, right?
Okay.
And move the three-point line back a few feet.
I wouldn't take it back so far. I like your idea about cutting it off. So you mean it was
just a couple feet?
Just a couple feet, yeah. So
2, 3 max.
Okay, yeah. From the end line.
From where it is now, just move it up a little bit closer to center.
The arc would go out of bounds instead of ending at the end of the court. Yeah. I think that's an excellent idea, personally. You know what I mean? Because then you got guys that can't shoot threes that can sit in that corner and get the open one. Okay, so
and everyone's looking for that shot, trying to build that, right?
I'm so sick of guys getting in the paint. They're right there, or they're going to go for a layup. They get scared. They're going to be posterized, and they fire it out to the freaking guy so he can clang a three. You're in the paint. Put the ball up. You might get fouled. Be aggressive. See what's going on here. Nah, we'll throw it back out to the three-point line. The guy clanks it. Now, when it makes it and they're on the run, gets the crowd into it, everybody's excited. Stop it.
Well, how about when the crowd's just taken out of it when it's like brick, going back the other way, brick, back the other way, brick.
You feel the air coming out of the balloon as you're watching the game. It's just brutal. And like I said, is it a jump shooting league now? No, there's other problems going on.
Well, it's worse. It's a three-point shooting league.
Okay, but then let's look at it this way. There's a couple other issues that are going on in the league that I'd like to address right away, and one of them is refereeing. Okay, first of all, there's a foul on every play. So let's call it consistently. Call the same foul you call in the first quarter as you do the fourth quarter, because then those guys start thinking they can get away with things, and then the hacking underneath gets stupid. The game gets ugly. Next, when these guys are barking at you so much, that's what's pissing the fans off. Every time you go down the floor, you go in the paint, you're barking at a referee. So I'm really glad that Jalen Rose, of all people, Jalen Brown brought it up this week. He goes, hey, refs, why don't you tech or don't tech? Threatening is bullshit.
Yep.
Oh, I'm going to spank you. I'm going to spank you. I'm going to spank you. Oh, well, here we go. End of the game. Guys are laughing at him. And this whole tier thing, which has gone on in the NBA for 1,000 years, where you are at the pecking order, which we brought up in a previous show. Steve Kerr walks onto the floor, blows a gasket. Nobody says nothing. Drago says hello. Bang,
well,
Jack.
The Steve Kerr one, in the defense I heard was that he never really raised his voice.
Okay, so, but the other thing is about where you go on the court until back on. He didn't leave the court. He was out like 8 feet into the court, bro. Okay,
a lot
maybe
of coaches
he wasn't
take advantage of that, but
okay, but depending on what coach you are.
Sure.
Same as
fair
the guy
enough.
going into the paint. The kid that made the All-Star team in the Cup there for Houston. He got hacked a lot. He didn't because he's young. He didn't get the calls that Giannis got. He didn't get the calls that Shea got. So referees got to be a little bit more consistent too. You know what I mean? Because then that messes up the game. What kind of defense are you playing? Doesn't matter. We'll just hack in the middle. Oh, your name is Giannis. Go to the paint. You're going to get yours. Hey, your name is R.J. Barrett. We'll think about it. That's you know what I mean? That's what drives me crazy. So if you had more
the reputation calls.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Now sometimes I get how that works against you if it's like if you're flopping too much and you can't get a call. I understand that. I haven't
seen any flops going on. Now the two things that
I'm for argument's sake, I'm just saying. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you see that a little bit more in hockey, I'd say, but
yeah, which is kind of weird when you think about it.
Well, your boy Thomas Plekanec back in the day with the Habs.
Oh. He should have been a diver. But I didn't mind. I like some of the penalties.
Yeah, but he had trouble getting calls because of that eventually.
Of course, you know, it's Peter and the Wolf stuff.
Yeah.
But my take on it is this.
The boy cried wolf.
Yeah. When you're playing in the NBA, okay, they've let it get more physical because the word was it got too soft. So anyway, Adam Silver and the boys sat around and said, okay, refs, let it get a little bit more physical, which it has. If you notice the games this year, it has gotten a little bit more banging. You go in there, they're not calling all the ticky-tack fouls. Yeah. But then when you call them at the end of the game, then we have an issue. Like, I'm going to say good, bad, or ugly the game when Draymond fell on, what's his name, who they're playing, Houston, and Houston came down, got the shot in the last second, scored seven points in the last 90 seconds to edge Golden State. 2 of the fouls, one of them was questionable, one was extremely questionable, but I didn't see either one of those calls in the first quarter. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And which gets to every sport. Hockey has that problem at times, but no, I don't think it's as bad. You know?
Well, hockey, the problem is more like the difference between the way the game is called in the regular season and the playoffs.
Okay,
but we could get on a whole tangent about that.
That's another day's conversation.
One thing I also wanted to get to was the Warriors. They keep falling. They had that tremendously hot start, got them to the knockout stage of the Cup game, but since then, it's been just nothing's been coming up dubs for the Warriors.
Okay, well, here's part of their problem, the roster construction. They don't have enough depth.
Which has been their problem basically ever since they got Durant.
Okay, so here's the issue.
Because Golden State, when they first got started, that was the complete opposite of their problem. They had a ton of depth, which was...
Of course they did. And who's got all the depth now? OKC. But just to think about this, sure. Okay? What we've been saying is your lineup is much different when you play with all your players as opposed to not. Everybody knows that, right? Okay,
the Raptors are finding that problem.
Yes, can't get their 5 starters on the floor. But let's look at the situation with Memphis. They got all their guys back now. Oh, by the way, did you see what happened this week? Steph Curry didn't even get a field goal against them.
Wow.
First time in, I think, 12 years or something ridiculous like that because the defense was heavy on them, and they're a team. And not only that, Memphis is running about an 8-9 guy rotation with not missing a beat when they're rotating their guys in. Whereas you
basically getting ready for playoffs at that point.
And then when you think about what they're running out at the end of their bench, guys I've never even heard on Golden State. Which brings me to this. What validity is there to the rumor that keeps coming up that LeBron James is going to go to Golden State?
Absolutely not going to happen.
Okay, I'm on that side too, but isn't it interesting? Is this just something to keep our ear to the NBA? Because what's going to have to happen here soon as part of the popularity is some of these old guys are going to have to start moving away and take more time. Like what we don't hear. We don't hear about Shea's great game. We hear about Curry going over whatever. Oh, LeBron's in a slump. Oh, what's wrong with Giannis? They don't talk about Shea. They're not talking about Ant-Man enough. They're not even talking about John Morant enough and what they're doing on Memphis. It's the old school that still dominates
well, I guess it depends what show you listen to as well.
I see it everywhere, even on
PTI has been giving the Thunder and Minnesota their flowers when they deserve it.
Okay, well, that best show on TV. That's why. Those guys are in the moment. Like, they're the ones that, like Tony Kornheiser said a number of times, when are we going to move these guys aside? Let the kids come up. We got some great players. We're not getting on them because we're spending too much time on the L.A. Lakers and what their problems are. Well, yeah, they're not relevant.
Like, besides, like, Luka and, like, Tatum, it's like none of those guys are really getting the headlines.
No, there's 2 more guys that you should talk about that don't get talked about enough, even though I know Luka's a bitch, so that's probably his problem.
He's a great bitch, though.
Oh, damn right he is. But the bottom line is, now that we're getting down, let's just run around the standings really bit and look at the talking, because here's another talking point I want to have about the great NBA Emirates Cup bullshit.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's look at it this way. There's you have to have a point differential. Okay, because they're only playing the 4 games, so they can't play 8 to get it because it's an in-season tournament. So I understand there's a certain criteria to get there. So basically, Cleveland and Boston got knocked out by the slimmest of margins. But that's
more Boston than Cleveland, because Cleveland, I believe, lost. They were 2-2 in the group stage. Boston was 3-1, and they lost because of a tiebreaker.
Okay, and so Cleveland had a bad night. I think one of them was against Detroit or whatever, some team, whatever. Bottom line is, okay, the cup's over. Let's get back to business. So let's get Milwaukee against Cleveland. Now, who do you think's going to head farther? You know what I think about Cleveland. Did you see the score of the game?
No, I didn't.
Oh, go check the score last night. Let's see what Cleveland did to Milwaukee. The Emirates Cup, NBA Cup champions. What happened when they went there?
Well, they lose one game. They lost by 20.
Yeah, okay. So what valid they had a hangover from winning the cup in December before Christmas. Stop it. They wonder when the NBA's got problems. I don't understand your narrative. That's
but also at the same time, like Boston will do the same things. They'll like win by 20 and they'll lose by 20 the next night. And they'll like win their next 5 in a row.
Okay, but that goes on once in a while. I'm just saying this is you're the Emirates NBA Gold Cup champion. Put down the confetti. Let's have a banner up. Let's have an all-star team. You go out the next game and win by 20 by a team that's going to be there in the Final Four and you might not even be around.
We'll see. Milwaukee, I don't think is going away.
What's that?
Milwaukee's
I don't think they're going
away,
away, but I don't think they're deep enough when it comes down to playing those teams. Like if we quickly run around right now, okay, we know this. If you go to the Eastern Conference, those top 4 teams are staying there. I don't care. And especially when Wagner gets back on a full-time basis with Orlando and what's his name, Picaro. Okay, they're not even back yet, and they're treading water.
Yeah, with Orlando, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that they're going to be okay. The next tier, when you go down there, of course, we're going to say Milwaukee, Miami, and Atlanta are going to scrap for this. I'm really surprised at Atlanta because they play no defense. They look like Indiana.
I think Milwaukee's going to continue to put some distance between them and
they'll be the 5th team. Yeah, that we're going to get there. But
but even if they catch up to like the Knicks and the Magic, I wouldn't be surprised. Like the Knicks haven't been anything special this year.
I think the Knicks have finally got it together.
You think so?
Yeah, they're going to have their bad night shooting because they do stupid things too. But the core of the team,
sure they do.
Oh yeah, they get into that 3-point.
Karl Anthony Towns can be frustrating at times,
and it can be amazing at times. But I mean, then he shows off. He went into Minnesota the other night and they crushed him. And they were putting the finger down and they were doing it, which got back to one of my original premises: is who's going to have the chemistry faster. Minnesota hasn't figured out their chemistry, but we'll get to that. Just talking.
Well, it looks like they might be turning a corner.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. But if you seriously look at the Eastern Conference, you got Cleveland, Boston, New York, and Orlando. I don't think they're moving. Mm-hmm. I really don't, because I see how these other teams play, and they're all over the board. And it's a matter of what's your shooting percentage of that night too, not the way you play. Your shooting percentage is because of the stupid 3 shit. So we got to look at that too. But who plays defense? Miami still plays defense. They don't have enough depth, so I don't see them being around anymore.
Milwaukee plays defense.
That's why they're going to separate themselves from the pack. The team that I think is the weirdest is Brooklyn, because they're the scrappiest team going. Who plays for Brooklyn? Can you give me some players playing Brooklyn? Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
They just traded Schroeder. Was the guy that was going there, so pretty good. But every night they show up. I don't know why. So are they going to be one of those?
Ben Simmons?
Ben Simmons is playing quietly good. He's not a top-tier guy with top-tier money, but he's playing great D. Still scared to take a shot, but that's another story. So when you think about it, when those 4 teams, the rest of that conference is just let's put them in a bag, shake it up, and the first one that falls up we'll get.
I was going to say already, I would say Washington, Toronto, and Charlotte. They're probably out of it. Philly is
trying.
Philly's on the edge. I'm not sure where they stand right now.
7 games under 500 still at the 25-game mark. That's a quarter of the season.
Only 1 game out of that final play-in, too, so.
Then if they get hot down the road there, but a 500 team has never done anything, and when you start looking at the point differentials, if you don't have a plus point differential, you don't usually make the playoffs anyway. But
some bad teams are going to make the East play-in, though, either way.
What happened to Indiana? All they did was score. This year, people got used to their scoring, started banging them. Where are they?
8th place.
Yeah, I remember they were supposed to be
Well, that's
contending.
my point, though. All 4 teams in the play-in right now have negative point differentials.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but once they get in there, they're going to get their asses kicked by the top 4.
Oh, yeah. Cleveland and Boston are going to wipe the floor with these guys.
Okay, so what we're going to say is if we're going to get down to the Final 4, we'll just quickly, if I had a say on it, Milwaukee's the only team I say get an outside chance of those top 3 teams because I think they're going to stay there.
Yeah.
The way they play. Now, when we get to the West... Well, the wild, wild West.
The gauntlet.
Oh, my God. It's like Remember we were talking about it. It's 26 games in. Let's go back 12 games. Like you said, Golden State was the darling of the league. Look what Steph Curry's doing. He's this, he's that. So they need another.
They're in free fall. They're like the New York Rangers of the NBA right now.
Thank you very much. So why do they keep knocking on the door to LeBron?
Because they're desperate. They need him more than he needs them.
Okay, so if they went there and they
Like,
went,
I don't get another thing why he wouldn't go there. Like the Lakers are higher than them in the standings.
I think that LeBron should stay there and dig his way out. That's the way I would think.
Stay in
about
LA?
Yeah,
100%. He's an LA guy. Why would he move?
Another ring. 5 rings would make people stop at this age.
I don't think LeBron to Golden State's a recipe for a ring though.
Oh, but I think if they got in the playoffs and they had that lineup and that supporting cast around them.
Yeah, but what would they have to trade to get him?
They got 2 first-round picks from I'll be dead when they get him.
And also the Lakers doing that to a division rival, like the price is going to be jacked way the fuck up.
I hear that, and it all depends on LeBron. He's got the 1-year contract. He has all the leverage. What I say
He's
about
staying
this.
in LA.
Oh, I think so too.
Especially with his son there. Come on.
The bottom line is, nobody's respecting Anthony Davis, who's having an MVP caliber season.
Yeah, he's really taking over that offense there.
And meanwhile, back at the ranch, what are you going to leave him hanging out to dry? Anthony Davis, that's another guy I don't talk about enough. I know they called him street clothes for a while. Forget all that shit. The guy's a great player. Top 5 in the league. I think he's top 5, definitely top 10 in the league. There's no doubt about it. And if you see the metrics like scoring, defense, blocks.
Yeah, it's all there. All there.
He's got everything going for it, but he's not even in the MVP conversation because he's in LA on a shit team.
Yeah.
So it's not going to go anywhere. You know what I speak? But one of the things that I do found interesting, and I said it earlier too, is when Memphis gets all their guys back and they start playing on a regular basis, what's going to happen? Oh, gee, look at this. Memphis has suddenly crawled to 3.5 games within OKC. Now, is it going to be tough to catch them?
Well, OKC's just knocked off 7 in a row, and they're really the only team in the West that's put themselves like they put some distance between themselves and the other teams.
Oh, they're going to win. I think the conference, and they don't even have Holmgren.
No.
The sneakiest thing they did was get Herrenstein from the Knicks when they trade for Gibby, and I thought, oh, that's kind of there because that kid was good on D and he could shoot, but that's the extra big man they needed to back up Holmgren. And now that Holmgren's got hurt, Herrenstein's played some very, very, very. Now they're going to wear him out.
Like I said, in that semifinal game of the Cup, he was very, very good.
Yeah, of course he was. That's what I'm saying. So the bottom line is Memphis, and I think by the end of the year, those 2 teams are going to rise up and they're going to stay there. Memphis, well, you know that. I'm a Jaw guy. Like, I love that team with Bain, with Jackson. Who else? They run 8 deep, 9 deep, and there's no way.
Well, we'll see though, because Dallas too. I mean, the way they've been lately.
They should be better too, but they got to learn to play more defense too, because once in a while, when you get to the ISO ball in the end, they lose some games because Kyrie and Luka are forgetting what they did for the other 44 minutes. They go ISO. If they don't make the shots, guess what? You go home, that's a loss. I'm saying Dallas is going to be there. If they're one of the Final 4, I'm not surprised. They went to the finals last year. So you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I can't deny what's going on. They got a good roster. They can make moves because apparently they've got a little bit of leverage with their the salary cap. Because now that it's changed, the taxes that you got to pay if you're going to go overboard to go for a championship is what? Insane.
It's insane.
It's insane just to keep it away from that. I guess it makes for a more competitive balance, but it also makes for more parity. It's the same thing, I guess. I don't know. But when you look around there, Dallas is good. I think the Clippers are whatever. Norm Powell's having an amazing year, by the way. He should be a defensive player of the year. He's scoring 23 points a game, and Kawhi's due to come back. That is the big thing. That's going to be huge because they've treaded water this time. And if Kawhi
16-12 though, that's not a bad record.
And if Kawhi can come back in, you know that they're going to be in the hunt right there. When you hear people talk about Kawhi, like anybody talk about Kawhi, they still say he's one of the best players in the year. He's not a load management guy. He does have a degenerative knee, which is such a drag for a player of that caliber. You know what I mean? But when he comes back, he's going to be Kawhi, and they're going to move up the ladder, which means who's going to be the teams that are going to be fighting. Minnesota is one of the most disappointing teams in the league.
Them and Denver.
But I think Denver can pull it together.
They've shown nothing to prove that, though.
They've been a little up and down, but I think the experience
very
is
up and down.
I know
the Westbrook. And again, all my fears about Westbrook joining that team have all been coming true, basically.
I don't know about that because he's been great on defense.
How's his offense though?
His offense
it's the same bullshit with him.
It's been solid lately. And he's playing. Westbrook's not the reason Denver's in trouble. He's been a plus.
I just don't think he fits that team very well.
He's one of the reasons they've stayed in games of late. He's been on the floor in the last 5 minutes of the game because of his defense and his hustle. He's there. I think the problem is Jamal Murray's been up and down. Aaron Gordon's had his issues so far. The Joker looks a little lazy. Depth. Yeah, no, they got a couple guys on the bench, the young guys, if they're going to move in, but their frontline guys
not as much as a couple of years ago, though.
No, that's guys like Brown to the Raptors, and who else they lose? Somebody else that went to the Knicks, I believe. But the bottom line is their top-end guys aren't playing like top-end guys right now. If they turn it around, they can do. Because you still got, like, Aaron Glenn's a great guy to have. Aaron Gordon, Daryl Porter Jr., the Joker, Murray, Westbrook. Who else they got going on the bench? I forget. But that team, I still see that when they play in the playoffs, people are going to think about them. We got 50-some games to go. So I think they're going to make some noise, which I just mean, is San Antonio going to be able to sneak their way in? I still think they're too young. Wemby's time's not here. Another great player that gets pressed, but not enough as he should.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they make it in, especially with the way Golden State's falling out.
Well, I don't see that it would have to be Golden State or the Lakers, because I really think that Phoenix, if Durant gets back, because once they get the injuries, another team that doesn't have a whole bunch of guys there, and it affects them on the court, that one or two guys. The biggest problem with that is the New Orleans Pelicans.
Dead last in the West.
And I thought in my pre-season preview, I said if they hold it together, they're the team that's going to make the move.
Second last in the entire league.
And injuries killing them again. And where's Zion? Rehabbing on a beach in frickin' Bermuda? Come on. You ain't going nowhere. And Ingram's been banged up again.
Yep.
So I don't know. It's just weird.
They're screwed.
They're done. They're going to be in on the Duke guy. Yeah. They'll be in on the lottery, which could help them out in the long run.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but nothing's coming to save them this year. But San Antonio and Sacramento, I mean, don't count them out yet.
Oh, Sacramento either. And they're another scrappy team, but who are they going to replace? That's what I'm looking at.
Golden State.
Oklahoma, Memphis, Houston, and Dallas. They're going to be there. I hope Houston can hold on because they make a lot of rookie mistakes. And sometimes Fred puts them up too early. That's what happened. Fred was part of the problem. His defense was great, but Fred, I seen him miss 5. They were in rhythm. He was just off. Mm-hmm. Like Fred wasn't forcing them, you know what I mean? And I like the fact that Fred will still make a big shot at the end. If he's 0 for 10, he'll make the shot and be 1 for 11. That's a shot that'll put him ahead. I like that. The thing about Houston is they're just so goddamn young. A lot of great players on that Sponging guy, that Green guy. They scrap, they go. And look at their record. I called for this. Look out for the Houston freaking Rockets, and they're there.
But you didn't want to name Udoka Coach of the Year.
No, I should have. Maybe I should have. And but when you look at it, that's what I'm saying. OKC, Memphis, Houston, and Dallas seem to be pretty solid. A 5-game losing streak can get you in trouble. I say the gauntlet from 5 to 12. And any of those teams can still make the play-in and stuff. It's so competitive there. And whether you play at home and on the road, some of these home teams are playing so much better. It's just insane.
Well, for even 2 to 12, they're only separated by 6 points or 6 games.
6 games. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So, but I do think there'll be some separation, especially within a month. I think we should see more.
I don't know. The West stayed pretty tight like this last year too.
And they all scrambled at the end. But you don't think that OKC and Memphis are going to stay on the top? Come on.
OKC, yeah. Memphis, I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas or.
No, I think that if they, barring injuries, I still think that they're going to be they're going to be there. They could be a Final Four team, and there's so much.
They can be, but I'm not gonna say it's a slam dunk.
No, definitely not. What if they lose to Dallas in 7 games?
Very possible.
And you know what I mean? The way that it's riding, if they're 4th and 5th. But we're going to wait and see. We're going to keep our eyes on it. And hopefully they'll do some things to clean it up so that the ratings were going to go up, because I tend to watch a lot of basketball games too. But how many games I've turned off this year is unbelievable. You know what I mean? I just turn them off. I go, okay, that's enough. Nobody's going to do nothing. Going into the 4th quarter, winning by 15. I change the channel. I come back. Oh, they're winning by 28. So unless they clean up the 3 problems, if you go out there, it's online right now. Go ask Charles Barkley his opinion of what's going on in the NBA, and it's like he's written the gospel. This is what's wrong and everything, and nobody's arguing with him. Mm-hmm. So we know we got a problem. NBA, clean up your shit.
Absolutely. Anything else for basketball?
I think that's pretty good.
All right, then.
We're a month away from giving our first preview on what's happening in college basketball.
That's right.
Go Michigan.
Go Blue. We'll turn this over to one of our favorites here at the house that happens, the NHL, where we will begin with our newest edition of our power rankings.
Dun, 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 dun. You want to go first?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Number 5, first time on my top 5 this year, although they are sitting number 1 in the league, the Winnipeg Jets.
Number 5, okay.
Number 4, my Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh.
Number 3, the Washington Capitals. Number 2, the LA Kings. And number 1, the Vegas Golden Knights.
Okay, go down that one more time. Would you say it again?
Winnipeg, Toronto, Washington, LA, Vegas.
We have some discrepancies this
Ooh.
week, okay? I'll start at number 5, New Jersey Devils.
They were like my number 7.
Okay, they were in there. Number 4, LA Kings.
Okay.
I'm putting number Kings. Number 3, your Toronto Maple Leafs. Number 2, I'm sticking with the Florida Panthers.
They're my number 6.
Really? And my number 1 is Vegas.
So Washington didn't make your top 5.
Nah, look at them. Look at them of late. Look at them of late. They've got slapped a bit. I think it's going to catch up with them. They had a nice run. They did win last night. They beat Dallas, though, didn't they?
They beat Carolina last night.
Or Carolina, yeah.
Yeah, they lost to Dallas on Monday.
Yeah, that's 2 big games in a row, which is opposed to my team, Minnesota, who got bitch slapped by 2 teams coming into their house this week.
Washington's still 7 wins in their last 10 games. I couldn't justify.
What's that?
7 wins in their last 10.
Who?
Washington.
Yeah, they're still there, but the last 3 is the ones I'm talking about.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that they're out of it or anything like that. Let's cut to the chase here. Like, Washington's still a good team, but I think that there's cracks in the armor. They
Obi's
can be
coming
pushed
back,
on.
though.
That should make a difference. The thing about them that surprises me is I thought that Washington would be a little bit tougher with guys like Wilson in the lineup, but they're not. They can be knocked around. A lot of young guys, though. Mm-hmm. And those guys are starting to feel the pressure maybe a little bit.
We'll see.
You know,
I still think Washington's a tough out.
Oh, no doubt about it. Okay, what I mean? So, another thing that what we were just saying about the power rankings, you're starting to get to the point in the season now where we're separating the men from the boys, like I was saying. Earlier in the year, in the first 10, 15 games, we said I'd get this too far. 2 of the teams that I was really screaming about is Minnesota and Carolina. Let's look at them in the last week. You made a great call. Carolina does not have depth scoring. Every team in the line doesn't, but their last 2 lines haven't been playing that very good at all. But their goaltending, you warned me.
That's their big Achilles heel.
Their goaltending. Save percentage is okay, but they give up bad goals at the wrong time.
I'm really wondering. I know he hasn't been playing that well in Anaheim, but I'm still wondering if they're going to circle back to that John Gibson trade.
I think it would be wise. Do you think anyone can steal Dostal from Anaheim, or is he just...
No, he's their goalie of the not only the future, but of the present. They're going to keep him. They'd be stupid to trade him.
Oh, that'd be insane. I think he's great.
As someone who's got a little bit of a soft spot for the Anaheim Ducks, I would be just like going down to the Samueli family or whatever and just like grab him by the throat and be like, what is this that happened?
He was amazing against Toronto last week. He was the guy. If it wasn't for him, that game would have been 7-0.
He's had a lot of great games.
Yeah, no, he's good. But in any event, that's what I'm saying. And he stunned Carolina and Minnesota this week, too. My big call on teams like that, as I was saying, Minnesota had all those games in hand, and they got to play them at home. Let's see what happened. So the 2 teams that you're going to have to face big at some point in time is Florida and Vegas. Mm-hmm. They got completely pushed around. They got outclassed in both games. First game was tight. They battled. Then they had to back the game. Florida just came in and crushed them. Yeah. Pushed them around like no problem. So Minnesota, even though I like their defense, like I've said a number of times, I really like those guys on the back end. Who have they got? Middleton, Farber, Spurgeon.
Middleton's out, though, right now.
He's just out, yeah. That which probably a little bit is hurting them because their depth in defense isn't that great. But another thing, as you said, too, is that you got to have a little bit more of a balanced scoring situation. You know what I mean? Them do it, but they get crushed by 2 big teams in their house.
Yeah.
Like if that was on the road, I could kind of...
And they're missing a little bit of their scoring depth, too. Like Joel Eriksson-Ek is out for a little bit, too, so...
And then not only that, they're all over Kaprizov right now. The guy can't get on the ice. 3 guys chasing him around and nobody out there to help him. Even though their back end is pretty good, and like you said, their goaltending's been solid. But I think they need a tweak somewhere along the line. I don't know where they're going to get it before the season's over. If they're going to rise up to be in a bit of a playoff contender, which I thought they were.
Well, we could see, I mean, it's the roster freeze now for Christmas, but there could be a little bit of trade action after that where some guys who are on those Four Nations teams and are on the trade block, they're going to be moved before the Four Nations face off. So potentially like a Brock Nelson or one of those guys I think is going to be moved sooner rather than later.
I think it pertains more to American players and no, Sweden too. Because, I mean, look at the guys from Canada. Which guys in Canada are going to move?
Yeah, those guys are all going to be pretty secure, I think.
But I think that because a couple guys on Sweden and a couple guys in American teams, their names come up. Because I thought about that. What's going on here? But then I realized our team, nobody's letting any of those players go on the Canadian team. But I could see what's happening. And I think it's America and Sweden. But I don't think that Dahlin's going anywhere. Like, they're going to steal.
No, Buffalo's not going to trade him.
That'd be crazy, too. Who's the other defenseman?
I think if Buffalo's going to trade defenseman, it's more likely to be like Bowen Byram, who they just got. But
no, they got to keep him in Owen Power.
But I mean, you have 3 left-handed defensemen. Like, you have a little bit of an excess there. If you can trade him to improve your scoring, which Buffalo desperately needs scoring.
Oh, God, yeah, after the first line. And they look so lazy out there. But when you're talking about shooting, I think the fact that, we'll get that in a minute, remind me about the Montreal trade. I think it was because Carrier's a right-handed shot. On deep ones. What was the difference? Yeah. I think that might, because I was watching the game last night and I said, yes, we did need a right-handed shot so Matheson can spend more time on the bench.
Yes, so Montreal traded Justin Barron to Nashville this week for Alex Carrier, basically right before the roster freeze kicked in.
Interesting trade, though. Like, what does it bring to both teams? We talked about it off air. This is our quick Montreal Canadian report. I thought they were basically... not the same style of defenseman. Carrier might be a little bit more offensive, and Barron might be a little bit more rugged. But when you look at Montreal, where they're at, they've got 3 or 4 guys that can bang.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think they needed someone to go out there with them. But
that can help move the puck?
Help move the puck. That's what I think it's going to be, because if you look at the game last night against Detroit, God bless Houston. He's playing great.
Hudson, I
mean. But he was on the goal for all 3 goals. He was out there. He let his man blow by him. He got his pocket picked. And he got beat on a transition run. But he was out there to set up the power play goals, too. But who was his partner on the ice at all 3 of those goals?
Your friend Matheson.
Oh, come on. This guy's got to go.
Well, Lane Hudson, too. Like, for now, I'm not really
left
too concerned.
Winger. He plays like a left winger.
Plays like a left. Well, hold on. Like, my concern would be more if he's still doing these in like February,
right?
Because we know about like the 40 game kind of like break-in point for these college guys.
Okay, I'll give him this. He's very astute with the puck. He plays heads up. He knows where to shoot the puck around.
That's good.
Okay, I think what happens is that sometimes maybe he's defending on Matheson when he makes those rushes. And Matheson ain't doing his job.
Well, I don't think those two exactly complement each other well as a pair.
And they didn't. They put him with Gooley, too. So I'm saying Matheson. I'd put him out there with Aberjackie. Could be a bigger problem.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that exactly solves the issue.
So do we put him out there with Struble?
I think Savard's a little too slow for him. I don't think they'd be a good pair either.
No, and I think Savard should stay on the third thing, and I think he should keep killing penalties because his time is coming near an end. But he's not hurting us like Matheson. You know what I mean? He's not out there giving up the puck. Like, this guy's just on the ice for too many times for bad goals. Check the game last night when they went up 3-2. Who was on the ice for that goal? Hudson and Matheson. Okay?
The usual suspects.
It's killing me. Now, what I'm saying about Montreal that's done good is, and they played all this year, and they've set the example, which is great. The line with Gallagher, Anderson, and Dvorak. Finally, Dvorak's looking like he can do something. Now, everyone's saying, look at Lanny, Line and all those power play goals. And look, it's good for Montreal.
7 power play goals already.
Got to do a little bit more on 5-5. He's been out there trailing his ass. He's not quite in game shape. He's got blown by in a couple of those transitions. So what's he running at? About a -3. But I'll talk about the minus a bit when we get to Toronto, because I like that stat, but... Okay, Nylander -2. I can see why. But in any event, the thing about Montreal is we are playing aggressive. Regardless of that shit kicking we took from Pittsburgh last week, we've recovered from that very nicely. What have we won? 2 in a row?
I believe so.
And 5 of our last 7?
Let me see. I know they're 5-5 in their last 10. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
5 of your last 8.
Yeah, won 5 or last 8, which is a great thing for us. But what my point being with that Anderson line is, and Gallagher.
Yeah, but also who have you beaten?
Who's ever in front of us? Who's ever in front of us? That's just the way it's got to be.
Wow, whenever you guys have played tough teams, you guys have lost.
We've had our issues. Okay, well, we'll get back to that in a second. What I'm saying is when you're great to see a team, when you see a line like that, every shift they show up. It's starting to show off the other guys too, and Slafkovsky's playing better. Doc hit people. Kirby Doc hit some people. I said, yay. Like, do you see how big that boy is?
He's a big boy.
So you know who they send out there? They send out Doc, Slavoski, and Lane. You know, that's an average of 6'5", is it, or something like that? And sometimes they look pedestrian. That's the problem. I think still Lane's got to get his legs, but he scored. You see some of his power play goals? He scored some beauty.
No, he's a natural goal scorer.
There you go. That's there. But we need him on 5-on-5 because, of course, there's no Montreal making the playoffs. There's about as much chance of me getting a date with Mariah Carey tomorrow night, just before she goes on stage for the Christmas concert. I don't think that's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what's killing me. But I like our aggression. I like the fact that we're playing it. I like the fact that we're not in last place.
No, Buffalo's taken over in last place, losing their last 12 games in a row now.
What do they do?
Nothing's going to come to save them this year. They're just a disaster.
Coaching change or nothing. I don't know. The coach
we all know about what I thought about them hiring Lindy Ruff.
And it's coming to fruition.
Yeah, and then do you hear Marcus Foligno throwing shade at the Sabres, his former team?
Yes, I did. You know what I mean? But there's
I'd rather be in this slumping position with the slumping Minnesota than with Buffalo.
Oh, that's huge. And you know what's even insane? The owner flew to Montreal. Walked into the room and said, guys, what's going on? Give him the pep talk, lose 6-1.
Jesus.
In Montreal. It wasn't 6-1 to Toronto, which you pretty well should have done. But in any event, what we're going to do now before we go around the league is this is our first time that we're going to do this. But we're gonna stay on it because sometimes we don't have a lot of time to do our show and we talk about a lot of things for a lot. So what we're going to do officially to do today is what? What teams are not going to win the Stanley Cup?
Or aren't we going to talk about the Leafs first?
Oh, no, we're going to get to all that stuff first.
Okay.
So that means we don't have to talk about these anymore because the next is a Toronto Maple Leaf report.
Okay.
I'm ready for that. But let's just go down. We'll start from the west going Pacific. Who can we write off? San Jose? No. Anaheim making it?
No.
Not winning Stanley Cup? No. Seattle?
No.
Calgary?
Probably not.
We'll talk about them because they're Canadian. Okay,
and they could still be in the playoffs.
And they're going to still be in the playoffs. So no. Can Vancouver win the Stanley Cup?
Yes.
Okay, so then can Edmonton win the Stanley Cup?
Of course.
Los Angeles?
Well, the higher you go up the standings, I'm just going to say yes, of course.
I don't think LA can win the Cup. But are they going to be?
You got to give them a fighter's chance.
I give them a fighter's chance. That's it. Vegas, of course. We're screaming about that. Okay, let's go to the next division. Nashville, done.
Yeah.
Chicago,
done.
Done. St. Louis, done.
I think you missed Anaheim, too. They're not going to do it.
Oh, yeah, Anaheim. They're out of there. St. Louis, no. Utah, no. Everybody else in
barring a miracle with Utah, they need to, unless they pick up
they're not winning the Stanley Cup. That's what we're talking about. They might make the playoffs not winning Stanley Cup. No. Not a chance.
Never say never.
I'm saying never.
They could be in the playoffs, though, so it's going to be hard for me to say no.
Okay, but no. Even if they get in the playoffs, they're going to get an ass kicking. Okay,
we'll have to get a couple big forwards at the deadline.
Okay, at the end of January, we'll continue what we said now. 1 month. Well, whoever we said we're going to be there, I bet you we're going to say the same.
I know Utah's looked very good these last couple weeks.
So have I. So what? You got a little run.
What do you mean, so what?
I don't think that they're... And under that young line you were talking about, I have watched them and looked at their numbers like from a little while ago to now. They've made a jump.
Yeah.
And their goaltending's not bad. I'm not saying... And they're getting better at home, which is number one. They got to play better at home, which they weren't doing so hard. But their home record's gotten a lot better, hasn't it?
It has.
No, because they lost a bunch at home and they played more on the road. So that should get back. Because they're 5-5-3 at home, but look what they played away. So they should get some home team games that should be able to propel them to fighting for a position. But I don't think they can win the Stanley Cup. However, when you get above them, Dallas could win the Cup. Colorado could win the Cup. Minnesota could win the Cup. Winnipeg could win the Cup.
Sure.
I'll give you all of those. Now, when we get to the East, let's just start writing them off. My New York Islanders,
no.
Done.
Dead last in the
Metro.
Metro.
What happened there? And now I have to backtrack because I was just saying a month ago, all the wild card teams are going to come out of that division. Ooh, did I jinx them all? Oh my
you pretty
God.
much did.
Killed them, shot them all in the leg. Like now
like
I'm going.
Yeller.
Yes, I don't know what happened. Look at all those teams. They've just gone into I suck mode. But you wipe them off. Rangers, Columbus, Philadelphia, the Rangers, Pittsburgh. I'm starting to say I'm writing off Carolina, even though I was a huge...
Unless they fix that goaltending.
Unless they fix the goaltending, I'm giving no chance. I'll say New Jersey and Washington could win the Stanley Cup.
Yes.
But out of the whole division, we've given two teams. Two teams a shot.
I'll give Carolina a fighter's chance.
I loved Carolina at the beginning of the year.
They've been known to make some moves at the deadline. So.
I hope they do. They got a solid team. It's just that That's why I argue about save percentage. I've noticed in the games, like the other night when they lost 3-0, they gave up 2 terrible goals at the worst time. And then their secondary scoring didn't work because they checked the hell out of the first line. So that's just the way it goes there. Now you go in the other division. Buffalo, no. Montreal, I hate to say it.
No.
Okay, Detroit, no. Ottawa, no. Boston, no.
Ottawa's starting to pull their socks up, though.
Boston's playing great hockey. They're playing great hockey.
Ever since they got snow in Ottawa, Allmarks look like the Allmark that they traded for.
Okay, good, and I will agree. Ottawa's not winning the Stanley Cup, bro. Come on. No.
Never say never.
I'm saying never.
Stutzel's diving a lot less.
Yes, and they're playing great, and Shabbat and the boys in the back end have tightened it up. That's what's huge. So Allmark doesn't get hung out to dry so much. He's got clean looks, making great saves, playing great hockey. One of the best teams in the last 10 days. Calgary, bar none, on the road and at home, and they're on a ferocious road trip right now because of the juniors.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
They're on a ferocious road trip. So let's see how they end out of that. Now, I'll say, so that leaves me with only Tampa, Florida, and Toronto.
And Boston.
Boston ain't winning. I say no. No, they got a little spurt here. Come on.
6-3-1 their last 10.
Minus 19 goal differential. You don't win a Stanley Cup with minus 19 goal differential.
How are they since the new coach, though?
So they've had a couple of moments. And who have they played?
Swayman, and hold on, Swayman's gotten better lately, too.
Listen, did you see that little thing I sent you about the kids that looked like when they were kids?
What thing?
They showed the picture of what you looked like when you're a kid. They showed Crosby, and then what did Marchand look like? Vermin.
What does that have to do with hockey?
Because they're not going to get there. Because I'm saying they're looking.
What? That has nothing to
they're
do
not
with
winning
anything.
the cup. They're not.
Never say never.
Never.
Never say never.
Then they'll be burned out by the time they get there trying to catch it around. My number one thing about Boston is you can't say they get in the playoffs. You can't win with a minus 19 goal differential. And they played how many games? 32 games? Bro, it's going to look at Colorado. Let's just say about Colorado. Remember back then, about a month ago? What was Colorado's goal differential? It was about 20-something. What are they at now? -2. They're gonna be well above the time it goes.
Okay.
I haven't seen no change in Boston. They're not winning the Stanley Cup. Can anything say about Boston?
They're gonna get into the playoffs, though.
Fuck them. First round, get out. Ugly. I don't even like your new uniforms. I don't care. You're 100 years in the league. I hope you lose.
Okay.
Marchand.
But Tampa, Florida, Toronto, you give them a chance?
I get all three. That's it. So that means, look, I give more teams in the West a chance of winning than I do in the East. I'm only talking about 5 teams that I think can win it in the East. That's Jersey, Washington, and I don't think Washington can. But you got to give them right now. There.
I don't know, man. This is
Toronto,
this is the best Washington has maybe ever looked in the Ovi era.
Since they won the Stanley Cup.
Even when they won the Cup, I might say this is a better team.
I really think that, but it goes back to the development of players. Like, look at all those first-round draft choices they've done.
They've done it the right way.
Yeah, and, like, look, they're all there now. And they're, what, the 5th youngest team in the league?
Yep.
You know what I mean? They're not, like, old. I remember last year, they just got in, got their ass kicked. Yeah, they'll be falling out of the playoffs this year. Cruz, you're a smart guy, aren't you? Come on. They were looking really good. Goaltending's holding up. The great goaltending moves. You're right. That Washington made in the offseason.
Logan Thompson, yeah.
Here we go. And Samsonov's a solid backup.
Samsonov doesn't play there.
Who's back?
Charlie Lindgren.
Oh, yeah, Charlie Lindgren. I knew they had some guy that was kicking around and backing him up.
But what Washington's doing, I think that should inspire a lot of these teams that are kind of like hanging around there in the East, and I guess the West as well. If you're kind of like hanging around there, you can improve your team drastically in the offseason.
Sure.
So I wonder
with the right additions, but you got to develop your young guys too. It's a combination of both with Washington. They pulled in the right pieces. They had the right leadership in Wilson and Ovechkin, and all their draft choices are coming to are rising up.
But you're telling me like a Philly can't do something like that in the offseason? Like, of course they can.
Oh, Philly. Oh, yeah, no.
Even like a Columbus, they got some good young players.
Oh, I love Columbus. I love San Jose. Those two teams I love when they play hockey. They go out there, they're like, you know what they're going? Let's just try to win this, guys. Like they're like especially San Jose. You see them lose, they lose 4-3, they lose 5-4. Some of the most entertaining games I see. When I see Columbus play, they're coming out, they're working hard.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at teams, Buffalo doesn't look like they're working hard.
Well, it's because you get the coach, I would say.
Okay, they don't look like they're working hard. Anaheim doesn't look like they're working hard, but they got a goaltender that's standing them up. When I see San Jose play, especially a young lung with Celebrini and those kids, they're playing their ass off. Fantelli playing great for Columbus. Those guys show up, and they got some goaltending. Because you know what? In the NHL, the margins are so small because of parity. It's how hard you work some night. That's a gimme. It is your work ethic wins games some nights. What was the game that Toronto should have lost against Jersey? They had a great game. Why? They didn't work as hard that night. They worked hard in the third period, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
So they got away with it. So at least they knew how to work there because, as you notice, you have to have a strong forecheck and bang in this league or you don't win. It's starting to shape that way. The Vegases and Florida have got the template now. Minnesota lost those games. Why?
Well, yeah, really, yeah. Those two teams winning back-to-back, I think, really kind of changed the
big
league really that way,
defenseman and forecheck and clog up the middle and take your chances when you get the middle that you have your top scoring guys make the moves to do it. And that's what I see is going on with those teams and the teams that are coming behind them. Washington's got a fierce forecheck. Fierce forecheck.
They make it really tough for you to exit your own zone.
Exactly. So that seems to be the style of play. Have your guys stand up at the blue line and forecheck like bastards.
Yeah, they send two men up to come in and forecheck too when you have the puck, which is like so tough.
Toronto kind of plays like that now too, but
Yeah.
we'll get to them in a second. What I'm saying is that when you really watch some teams, and Minnesota is one of the big ones for that for me now that I'm Washington, and LA plays a bit like that too, is I always like the style of hockey that Toronto played last year a little bit better. Aesthetically looking, it seems to work, but
doesn't benefit you in the playoffs.
there you go. So LA and Minnesota,
and arguably, you can argue in the regular season too, the Leafs have looked better this year.
than
years past.
Yes, they have, but I mean aesthetically looking sometimes because it gets clogged in the middle till someone pulls out the right stick and the game gets exploded. You know what I mean? But some of the teams, and Calgary's playing a little bit more open hockey like that. But I mean, that gives you a fighting chance. I think some of the teams that know they have defensive efficiencies are going to go wide open and lean on the goalie maybe. I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, you have to play based on like your personnel, right?
Exactly.
What's going to benefit
and how
you
did
there.
you build from there? You want to be fast. You want to be tough.
Exactly.
And your back end, I'm not really sure. But when you look at the teams up front here, all of those teams, Jersey too can forecheck. Well, not as much. They get Sheldon Keefe, so they're playing a little bit more old school Toronto.
And they have some smaller guys up front too.
But they got Dylan that hold them up in the other defense.
On the back end, yeah.
They got some guys that hold them up there, and they're goaltending.
But, you know, Jack Hughes, I mean, we all saw the way he got laid out by Max Pacioretty when they played the Leafs.
Keep your head up, buddy.
It was a clean check.
Oh, 100%.
Shoulder to the chest, 100% clean.
And not only that, do you think he was back in college again? or in the O again? You make those moves in college. I was watching the game last night, the Oshawa game. Guys swing into the center like that all the time.
Oh, yeah. No, this is a man's game. You can't play like that.
And it's a man's game, yeah. I see it in college. Guys come flying through the middle like that. And I go, I don't know, that translates so well in the NHL.
No.
Ask Connor Bedard.
Oh, that's not nice.
No, I'm just saying. He's playing better.
He's the only guy that's playing well in that Chicago team.
Okay, so before we get around the league to see we're going to playoffs, it is time for the Toronto Maple Leaf Report. First thing I want to say, big shout out to Stollers. I hope he's
4
back.
to 6 weeks.
I hope he's back as quick as possible. What kind of freaking karma is that? The guy gets his chance. He's been a great backup. He's playing solid. And bingo, he gets hurt.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Now, it worked out last night.
Matt Murray getting his first start in 628 days in the NHL. Making a huge comeback. Love to see that. I've always been a Matt Murray guy.
I never had a problem with him either, but I thought Hildeby should have gone in myself personally. But Matt Murray proved that last night it was a perfect time against Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, you also want to reward guys for their play because Matt Murray in the AHL this year has been spectacular.
So that's great. I'm glad I'm happy for him. I questioned it because I thought Hildeby was doing fine in the starts he started. Yeah, the last one he started, he looked a couple of goals. Down on his knees a bit.
And his side to side, he goes a little too. He needs to tighten that up a little bit too.
Well,
I think.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, because when he goes down too fast, he leaves up above him, and guys are just firing over his shoulders from everywhere. Anyway,
which is fine. The Leafs have to be thinking development with him, so send him back to the minors. I'm fine with that.
Especially after they played last night. The bottom line is, Wall wasn't skating on game day. On that game day. What is that? Maintenance? Great. Don't tell me anything else, because if I was Toronto Maple Leaf fans, I would be in a panic mode. You guys have risen to top 5 in the league defensively, and you could rise even higher. Look.
Oh, I told you this on our pre-show meeting last night. This is the least frustrated I've been with the Leafs.
Wow, I know.
In my life.
Wow.
In my life.
Wow.
Like the team's finally playing. Like I think this is what I'm feeling now is kind of like what. I mean, not to draw too much. Okay, Stanley, chill out, buddy. Oh my God, I think I got him excited, unfortunately. But I think this is kind of what I mean, I don't want to compare him too much to these guys, but when the Doug Gilmour, Wendell Clark days, this is what kind of feels like just looking at the numbers and looking at like some of the game film
Oh,
from
no,
back then. Because like back in those days, Leafs were like Pat Burns had them playing a tight defensive game.
Oh yeah, and they play tight defense now.
Exactly my point.
And I like their forecheck. But what finally happened, and I'm so happy for every one of those guys, is you got a third line now. Finally,
Robertson,
oh, finally,
Domi, McMahon. Oh,
what a line! And you know what?
Gets me hard just thinking about it.
As well, you should. You see those guys play up and down the ice. Like I loved Robertson. You know that.
I'm actually really happy for him that he's finally succeeding. Oh my God!
Sat 4 games in a row. He was in the press box. 4 games, bro. Is he coming back? I think he was snake bitten.
Yeah, and I think he was probably in his own head. He was definitely in his own head there for a little bit. But I'm just really happy for the guy. Him and Domi, McMahon, like. It seems obvious now that those 3 would make a good line together, but I mean, you don't really know until you put it together.
Yeah. I give credit to Berube.
100%.
You know what I mean? To think about putting that line. Like, first of all, when you get out there, that's a McNasty line. Domi ain't big. Robertson ain't big, but they coming at you.
Oh, McMahon's pretty big.
Oh, no, that's the what do you call that? That levels it all off, because if a man's coming down on the forecheck, you better have your head up. You know, and he can shoot the puck.
Absolutely.
He can shoot the puck.
Well, that was the calling card on him when he was developing with the Marlies. Like, he big, he gonna hit you, and he can score. And you're like, ooh, that's a nice combination.
Beautiful goal the other night. Who set him up? Robertson was behind the back pass.
Well, what about the one last night, the setup to Domi?
Oh, that was a goal. That was
first I'm like, oh, you're on breakaway, turning around, then you see Domi right there, you're like, oh, that was beautiful.
That line was great last night. The question being is Matthews playing with a lingering issue?
100%.
You know what I mean? He's not hurting defensively though.
No.
You know, but which brings me up about the little stat that I was saying about plus minus. You know, that's big in my books of all other things. But I
said for defensemen more.
It's got to be for defensemen. Nylander's a -2. I've seen Nylander on the ice where he had nothing to do with the fact that like someone screwed up out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or made a bad play. Benoit's treading water right now, even though I like him.
I agree.
He's treading water right now. He's trying his ass off, which is okay. But the McCabe coming back really stabilized the core. Tanev and Olin
Ekman-Larsson.
Oh, those guys.
That's been my favorite pair this year.
And they're doing good, which makes you sometimes forget about Riley. And Riley's not having a bad year.
He's a -7, which hurts. I think a lot of that is just like, I don't know, him and Tanev, I don't think we're a great complement to. You'd think they'd be a good complement for each other, but sometimes it just doesn't work that way.
No, and he's been out there for a couple of those pancake goals anyway, or pizza goals, or whatever you want to call it, so to speak. But I think that this is a big transition for the Leafs. Minus injuries, they should be just fine coming down the stretch.
Well, their lines, like their forward lines, I would keep those top 3 the way they are. Matthews, Marner, Nyes, Tavares, and Pacioretty. I that is the last 2 people I would thought would have great chemistry, but I mean, they have been tremendous together.
You know what it is? The veterans, they know where to go to the empty spots. See, when Pacioretty scored, he went to the spot.
Yeah.
Here was a puck's coming, he was there, he knew to put it in. The bottom line is, I'm agreeing with you. Do not change the lines. Berube tends to do that at times. Or, okay, but the game of the third.
Well, I think they're cooking right now, so I can't imagine he's going to.
Don't do it. What have I been saying?
Like I think the only changes he's going to make really these next couple weeks are with the fourth line, just because there's so many guys, right?
Yeah, you got to get them on there. Leave the fourth. But the top 3, I would leave it, because earlier in the year I was saying one of the things that I thought the problem with Toronto was, and injuries had something to do with it, is the fact that they weren't consistent enough on their lines. You know, and Matthews went out, Pacioretty went out. They were doing that mix and match.
I think early in the season is the time for you to experiment a little bit. Find what's working. You have 82 games to figure out. And the Leafs aren't going to miss the playoffs.
No, definitely not. But I'm saying the emergence of that third line has been just like, whoa.
What pissed me off is what Keefe has done the last couple of years, where you're shuffling the lines every game for the last 20 games. That was infuriating. Have fun, New Jersey, with that.
Yes, and they've already started doing it at times. You know what I mean? Which isn't there. Anyways, we were talking about the Leafs there. First of all, I really hope that Stolarz is back really quick. I hope your goaltending doesn't take a left turn. I think Wall's been playing amazing. I watched hockey from all over the country because I got the box and shit, and all I ever hear about is the best tandem in hockey this year has been Toronto's. Let's hope that not goes away, because that's huge for you guys, especially with the playoffs.
Yeah.
You think about the playoffs time coming, you know?
We finally got David Kampf back as our fourth line center, which I think is absolutely huge.
He is your penalty killing thing, because what
and really... And our face-off man.
And a face-off guy. Tavares is good too. But When I think about the Leafs is what's really, really is weird, and it's a Berube type team, is they take more penalties. They were in the bottom 5, and now they're in the top 7, but their PK is one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I guess if they can take the chances of doing it, even though the referees, sometimes I can't figure out the penalties that they're calling at times. Either Passeretti got one the other night. What? You know what I mean? Didn't he get a penalty on the Hughes hit?
No, he didn't. No.
It was the one after that. There was a slash behind the net. I watched it 3 times. I couldn't figure out where the slash was. You know, I think the stick broke. That's what it is.
Yeah,
The stick breaks, and then it's over. So, in any event. But I think your Toronto Maple Leafs, like I said, I'm glad to hear this is the least frustrating year that you have had with your beloved Leafs. I can't say the same about my beloved Habs.
Well, maybe they can make some capital moves like the Capitals did last offseason. I mean, the Habs have some good players, but I mean, that defense needs to be shored up. You guys need another goaltender because I don't think Primo...
Montembeault are going to run him into the ground.
Yeah, you need a running mate for him.
Yes, and I wonder who's playing today. Probably Primo. Oh, gee.
But the Leafs, this last week, they lost 4-2 at Detroit, the game I was at. Tremendous game, tremendous time I had there, by the way.
Oh, good.
I enjoyed the Windsor pizza.
Oh, thank you
Capri,
very much.
very, very good.
Grew up on that stuff. I'm so glad. Shout out to Capri and Windsor. Like I said, did I not tell you?
It was very good.
Exceptional,
It was very good.
Exceptional pizza. And that, like I said,
almost had like a homemade taste, which I appreciated.
that's what everybody says. Since I was a kid, they've always said about Windsor pizza, it tastes homemade. Apparently, there's a documentary in the works about Windsor pizza. You know what I mean? Because you always hear about Boston, Chicago, New York.
Even Detroit pizza.
Yeah.
What's the big deal with Detroit pizza, though? I don't know.
Windsor blows it out of the water. Everybody knows that. People have come across the border to get Windsor pizza since I was a kid, so you know that. But anyway, big shout out to Capri. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
And Caesars is a great place to see a game, isn't it?
Tremendous arena. It's my second time in there.
Yep. I haven't been there yet, but I heard the sight lines are amazing.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, the way that was built. Yeah, it's a good arena. My buddy's been trying to get me dragged down there. I'll probably get down by the end of the year.
Yeah, do it.
Yep.
Do it. So the Leafs lost 4-2 at Detroit. The Red Wings clogged up the middle really well. The Leafs kind of looked a little bit flat. Yep. Husso also played a tremendous game. It was his first game in a long, long time, so I'm sure he was motivated.
Good. Yep. And not only that, if Detroit had that consistent goaltending all year, maybe they'd be in better shape than they are.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Although, I was going to say Talbot, but he was there last year. Either way, Detroit... No, Talbot is there this year.
He played last night.
He's been good, but like their other guys have been
I don't know. I expected
or at least he had
more.
a good start, but...
the word around the campfire is, what is Yzerman doing?
I know.
That's
He's on the hot seat.
You're damn right he is. And that's drag to say with all the success he's had in his career so far. Just some of the guys aren't performing. I don't know what it is, bad luck and whatever, especially when they had that run last year. Expected the progression this year.
Yeah. Some of the moves he has made, though, have been a little head-scratching.
Yeah. We're going to wait and see. But they're not one of the ones winning the Stanley Cup, that's for sure.
No, they're not. Leafs followed up with, they had a little bit of a poor start that next night in Buffalo, but they bounced back to beat them 5-3. Tavares' second hat trick of the season. Dominguez's first goal of the season that game, and Robertson had his second goal in his last 5 games at that time. Then the Leafs load up their top line the next game against Dallas, and we talked a little bit about that. Domi, Robertson, McMahon, and Jamie Benn becoming the Dallas all-time leader in games played, surpassing Mike Modano.
That's huge.
Then last night the Leafs beat Buffalo again, 6-3.
God bless Buffalo. If you actually look at the Leafs' last 6 games since we've had since our last show, because we were here on a Thursday, they did lose to Pittsburgh, right? Was that one of the games they lost?
No, the last time we were here, Montreal was playing Pittsburgh.
Okay, so who did they lose to that I was surprised since then? And then
Detroit.
they've just rolled since then, which is a great thing. They're very solid. Like I said, that's why they're in our rankings, especially my top 3 teams. I don't think that's going to change much for a while because I see Vegas, I see Florida, I see Toronto. I expect a certain thing to happen, and it does. Now, Florida got beat last week 6-1 or whatever, 6-1. Every team takes a night off. It's an 82-game schedule.
Sure.
I can't worry about that, but those teams are going to be there, and if Florida finds their way back to the finals, I don't like them. But
I predicted Florida back in the finals again this year.
I'm not going to fight against that. Their forecheck is tremendous. Big defenseman, Borowski in the pipes.
They have some Ruben Tad at the deadline.
There you go. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with when we get down to the playoffs, definitely.
Ottawa, we mentioned a little bit about them climbing up in that Eastern second wildcard spot.
They could get there. Like I said, I had such a proclamation about how great the Metropolitan Division is going to be. Nah, they're not. Now it's suddenly they're coming out of the Atlantic Division when you think about it. And that's
no!
What?
Austin Matthews re-aggravated the injury.
He's out again.
He's out again.
You could tell by the way he's skating. What injury is it? Is it groin, soft tissue?
Well, you know hockey. They're never going to tell you.
No.
UBI, LBI, that nonsense.
Yeah, but it's no. You could tell by the way he's skating. He hasn't hurt defensively, but his breaking to the net is not the Matthews that we know. You know what I mean? Let's get a speedy recovery. They just announced today he's not playing tonight.
Yeah, just now.
Just now.
Just got the notification now.
Oh, boo.
Yeah, unfortunate for that. New York Rangers continue to be in free fall. There is a rift forming between management and the players, especially after they traded Capo Caco to Seattle for Will Borgen and a third and a sixth this year. Doesn't seem like great return for a guy that's supposed to have a ton of potential and could be around the corner from a breakout, depending on who you ask.
The bottom line is the way he left town.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't he have some nice things to say about the organization? This is New York Rangers, premier team.
Original six.
Original six. This guy went out the door farting and shitting on everything he could possibly could find. And he's a young guy.
Please use that expression again. That was so funny.
Okay, he was. I was shocked. The kid, like, what has he done? Like, what's his credibility to walk out of a team like that and see what he's had to say? Like, he just...
everything's falling apart there. Like, I mean, the moment they start saying, like, Trouba and Kreider on the trade block, I think everyone just stepped back and went, like, huh?
How many teams are going to try to get Kreider at the trade deadline if he's available?
Every team that can use a forward.
Every team's going to be on him. Now,
I would say upwards of, like, 8 teams are going to be on him.
I'll agree with that. Now, let's take it one step further. What are they going to get for pennies on the dollars when everyone knows that they're going to want to get rid of him?
Well, if there's a bidding war that
could probably do their best.
That could save this little rebuild here.
Okay, so what about the guys like Panarin and Fox?
Who signed there for big money? It's Shesterkin.
It's a Shesterkin. That's what I'm saying. Oh, he's been great, though. Even in the losses, he's been great.
I agree.
He's just been a great goaltender.
Arguably the best goalie in the league.
Oh, yeah. I'm not arguing with that either. Because you know what? Here's another thing I want to say about goaltending. I think Shesterkin's been playing just as good as Hellebuck. Now, they're talking about already the Vezina. How many games he didn't have to show up? He just stood in the pipes and he just won. Come on. Does that mean you're the Vezina guy? Just because your record? That's the Ken Dryden theory. That's why they had the Vezina trophy.
Well, nowadays they look more at save percentage than anything.
You know what I'm saying about save percentage, okay? I want the right save at the right time. Shesterkin's been making it. Sometimes Hellebuck hasn't making it.
Well, the problem is the Rangers aren't getting the wins.
No, definitely not. So he's got the wins, but some games are winning 6-1. 5-1, whatever. And, and that's a credit to the team.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it's more of a team thing than him winning the Vezina. Not taking away the fact that he is still one of the best goalies in the league. But they're already giving him the Vezina already. I'm saying back up on that.
Well, it's a third of the way through the season.
Back up on that. Oh, Hellebuck's the best goalie in the world. I see Shesterkin. I go, wow, I see that Dostal.
There's still a lot of hockey left to be played.
I see that Dostal guy in Anaheim. I want him on my team.
Absolutely.
That guy's ridiculous. There's a few other goalies around the league I've seen like that. Ottinger's had a good year. So,
he's having a good year.
Gustafson's having a good year. You know what I mean? So just get a little bit tougher. I think any team that needs to be contending now, like those teams I talked about, the Carolina and Minnesota, Washington, the outside are in, they all want a Kreider. They want to want a power forward. It's what they want. You know what I mean, going in?
Absolutely. What else did we want to talk about? So there's also... sorry?
Go ahead.
There's also rumors that we could be going to an 84-game regular season, and they're going to trim the preseason from 8 games to 4 games. This is still a couple years away, but it is gaining momentum.
It's going to happen. You make more money on those games anyway.
Well, the NHL is a gate-driven league. Gate revenue is what released.
Huge.
Yeah.
So they'd rather take the 2 games. So don't tell me about injuries and weight and wear and tear on players.
But overall, though, you're actually like losing 2 games technically because of the preseason games that you're taking away.
They don't make the money that they make.
Well, but less wear and tear though is my point.
Well, a lot of times in those games nobody's playing anyway. Come on, there's no wear and tear. Just anybody. Look at the Leafs last preseason game. Who played? Me.
The last preseason game, it's usually the full lineup, but like the other ones, it's usually like half a lineup. Besides that, yeah.
If that, okay. So it could go there. I think it's a money thing. I'm still going back. Cut it back to 72 games.
Well, Ideally, yeah, but the NHL doesn't make TV money. That's the problem. Well,
They're making a little bit more now between
little bit, but it's not the NBA.
No, well,
or the NFL.
Okay, what's going to happen here is that Prime's deal is very good for the league. It's not huge money.
Well,
but
it's only
money.
on Canadian TV though. That's the thing. They need a deal like that in the States.
Yes, and they say that Prime's going to try to do that because they got the money. Because eyes to their viewers, they're not worried.
Sure.
They're not worried about the money they're spending. They're worried about they're figuring out how to get more eyes on TV. And the biggest thing is live sports is the last of the great reality shows that are on. So they're going to go there.
Not the Kardashians.
Oh, sorry. I guess I missed that episode, didn't I? But in any event, the cap's going to rise in hockey. And that's an interesting thing that you brought up because the NHL ratings are going up and the NBA ratings are going down and they're still getting all that mad money. I know it's because there's less players on the team. But come on, what about the product you're presenting to the public?
Absolutely.
You know?
But the one thing I do find interesting about this is that there could be a return of neutral site games because that was the way it was working the last time it was an 84-game season. So I think that could be cool for like teams that or cities that don't have an AHL team, like the Hamiltons of the world, or I don't know,
Stockholm.
Stockholm. Yeah, why not? Why not?
What else would I say? What's that big city in Finland? They're dying.
Helsinki.
Helsinki's dying for some games. But then again, I think they'd have to do one of those breaks where they take a week. And like 4 teams go over there and play 2 games, but who's it going to be?
They did that last year. 4 teams went to Sweden mid-season last year, and it worked out fine.
That's what I'm saying. So if they're going to do the neutral site games, I'd be all about more going over to Europe than I would be going here.
But I think it would be still an exciting prospect to have like some
a game in OKC.
Why not?
Okay,
why not?
Who would they get a bigger audience in, OKC or freaking Helsinki?
Probably Helsinki.
Hence the reason
But it's also a way for them to kind of test the market there too, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'm not going because OKC is sniffing around. Like they
got money.
They got money, so they're looking forward to doing it. And if I hear Atlanta one more time, stop it. But we know where we're going. Okay, but corporate money's a big thing. But I think at first when I turned about, I was a bah humbug. Screw that shit. Too many games. I'm tired of it. But if you're going to spread the game on places like people like there's like a following they say in like Europe on like Saturday night. Okay, our games start at 7:00. That's like 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock midnight over there. People stay up all night on the weekend to watch NHL games, which I think is amazing. You know what I mean? They do, and they stay up all night to watch NFL football.
You go.
So that's what I mean. And I guess there's thing, a lot of countries for NBA too. Because I heard that the NBA ratings in Europe have not flinched, like NBA Europe and NBA Asia.
Yeah.
None of those ratings have moved at all. Like they're still good at an international level. Neutral site games moving to places like that might even put more money in people's pockets.
Absolutely. Ready to go to our picks?
Yes, I am.
So
might surprise you this week.
Oh, I'm sure I'm in for one. So last week I won 11 versus 8. And that puts me at even with you. We've each won 4 weeks each, 2 draws. But on overall games, I have 76. You have 72. So I have the tiebreaker.
I still think I'm surprised that you're not farther ahead after my picks last week. I got lucky on a couple. And the upsets we both lost on. The games that we both thought were going to win that we lost on, I noticed they were the same.
Yeah, we both had Toronto. They lost. We both had Columbus. They lost in a shootout to Anaheim. Yep. We both had Vancouver. They lost to Boston. They got smoked by Boston, that one.
Yeah.
Those were the big ones. But moving it on to this week, 11 games on the docket. First up, LA at Nashville. I'm taking LA to win on the road.
I'm taking LA too. Stamkos a prospect at the trade deadline.
Too much money on that contract.
Okay. Marceau. No.
Same deal.
Okay.
Same deal. Chicago at Calgary. I'm going to take Calgary to win on home ice.
And let Chicago get down there so they get a chance at that lottery pick.
They can't win the lottery, though, remember.
But they can get a top 5 pick, though, right?
They can't get a top 2.
Okay.
Because that's the lottery.
Good. Good.
San Jose at Edmonton. I'm going to choose Edmonton on home.
I'm expecting this is the week that Connor McDavid moves into first place in the scoring race. You heard it here first.
Okay. Buffalo at Boston. Buffalo loses their last 12. I know you don't love Boston either, but I imagine we're both on the Bruins here.
And they're going to improve their goal differential tonight, definitely.
Might move to a -15 from a -19.
Yes,
or better.
I'm thinking, yeah.
New York Islanders at the Toronto Maple Leafs, despite some injury concerns with Matthews and perhaps Wall. I'm still going to choose the Leafs on home ice Saturday night. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. No problems. No problems there. Taking the Islanders.
You mean the Leafs?
Leafs, yeah.
Yeah. Detroit at Montreal. We all know Montreal got the win in Detroit last night. Does that mean Detroit captured it here with Primo? I still say Montreal's got the horseshoes Saturday night at home. Give me the Habs.
I'm taking the Habs too, but I'm scared as hell because I'm the winning back. You ever see their record on back-to-backs this year? Oh.
I mean, Detroit can't have great record on back-to-backs either.
So it's going to be ugly all the way around. And, I still have some Red Wing love. So Montreal, let's keep the flow going.
Okay.
Good game last night, by the way. Great game in the pace of the game. But if you looked at the score was 4-3, I would say out of the 7 goals, 4 of the goals were a direct result of defensemen making atrocious moves. Out of the 7 goals, 4 were bad.
Pittsburgh at New Jersey. I'm going to choose New Jersey to defend home ice.
Oh, I am too. New Jersey's starting to get on a roll. Great game against Toronto.
Sure.
It was a great game.
Couldn't finish,
but yeah.
Columbus at Philadelphia. I'm going to choose Philly at home.
I'm taking Columbus for the upset.
And even though Columbus is on a little bit of a downward.
This is when they seem to win. I'm going to take some money line money tonight and put it on them. Just said, $2-3 because it pays a lot of money.
Minnesota at Winnipeg. I originally had Minnesota here, but I'm going to switch my pick to the Jets.
I'm going to pick it. I think that tonight Minnesota's going to break out of it on the road because it's going to be a dipsy doodle game, which will be to their advantage.
Okay.
I still can't believe that Sheffley did not make the team. Or
Shifley?
And he's still playing good, but he's been playing even better. Because Kyle Connor's going and he's not. They're playing great together. So.
Ottawa at Vancouver. Ottawa's red hot, but they do not do well at Vancouver.
No, I'm taking Vancouver too. They lost a tough one last night.
Yeah.
Who'd they lose to again?
Boston.
That was a tough game last night. Last night. Last night, yeah. Who'd they lose to? Was it last night they lost?
Let's see. Their last game was at Vegas. They lost 3-1.
Yeah, and Vegas has controlled the game. Vancouver was going, but it was one of those games where you could see, like in soccer, they're trying to finish them off, and they didn't. And Vegas was too strong, way too strong.
And last but not least, Seattle at Vegas. I'm going to choose Vegas at home.
I hope they don't have a letdown after last night's game.
So only a couple different. So you're going on Vegas as well?
Yeah.
So we only have a couple differences. I am on all the home teams this week.
I'm not. I took the Columbus difference.
And Minnesota.
So we'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to. Good luck to you, sir.
Home teams on Saturday night are running, about 75%? Something ridiculous like that, unless it's Vegas going to Anaheim on a Saturday night or whatever. Sure. But outside of that, the home teams are winning.
The home teams have been the better teams this week.
100%. 100%.
All right, so we will move this to...
Now we're on to the most significant thing happening in the world. Not wars, poverty, or climate change. It's the 16th week of the NFL season.
Yes, it is. And we will begin with our power rankings.
Okay.
You ready to go?
Yeah, I think I got them.
I actually made a top 10 this week. That's how ahead of myself I got.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, go from your 10 down, and I'll just give you my 5, but because I think it's going to be interesting that if you give us a top 10.
Number 10, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Whoa.
They fell.
You got 9 teams better? Continue.
They lost 2 in a row.
Okay, and they're going to lose 3 in a row.
Number 9, I did not have them in this spot until Thursday night. I got the LA Chargers.
Oh, yeah.
Number 8, the LA Rams.
Okay.
Number 7, the Baltimore Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Number 5, a team that you have no love for, and I'm sure is not on your top 5, the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
Number 4, the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
Number 3, your Detroit Lions.
Okay.
Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
And number 1, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay, so we got some common ground here. Number 6, I'd put in Minnesota. Okay, if you look at my little list here, look who I scratched off from my 5.
I can't see.
I had Minnie at 5.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I think those other top teams, I think the Rams and the Chargers were there. A lot of people were talking about Denver, but by the way they got manhandled.
No, I had Denver, I think I had them number 8 before that game.
But then the Chargers were there, which was a great win. I think the Rams are going to be there. If the Rams, I think, are going to win the division, and not only that, no one's going to want to play the Rams in the playoffs. That's a gimme. You know, if their defense, the young defense is bend and don't break.
Well, like last year too, like they basically had a similar season. They had that awful start.
Yeah.
Towards the end, they really started to get together, and then they really gave Detroit a hard time in that wild card game.
We didn't put them away to the fourth quarter.
Yep.
You know, Matt Stafford, my boy. Pick, are you listening? And you got him on your fantasy team. I traded you to him, and I'm still crying about it. Matt Stafford is a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback. I'm not going to say he's top 10 of all time, but the credit that he's now getting, like, finally, he won a Super Bowl, and it was okay. He finally won a Super Bowl, then they went into slump. But look at the last 2 years. Stafford is one of the toughest, best quarterbacks in the league, so I'd put him there. But let's get to my top 5. Baltimore, number 5. Soon to be rising, especially when they beat Pittsburgh. I thought you'd have Pittsburgh a little bit higher, but you're right. After they lose this week, they might fall from your top 10. My number 4 is my Detroit Lions. I put them at 4. Number 3, Kansas City.
Oh.
Put them at 3 because they're still 13-1, bro, or whatever it is, 12-1, 13-1, whatever they're playing. And they got Houston. If they win this, they're just going to glide. Number 2 is Buffalo, and number 1 is Philadelphia. I've been saying that for a while. You know what I find interesting about Philadelphia? All you hear is drama out of that team, and all they do is win. Like, what's going on there? Like, why are you guys bitching and complaining? You're what? You won 10 in a row?
And you thought Leaf fans were bad.
Oh. And what's your record now? 12-2.
Yep.
Okay, 12-2. And you're bitching. You got one of the best defenses in the league. You've got that O-line, and guess what? If you can
arguably the best running back in the league too.
No doubt about it. Oh, and I'm still screaming at him for MVP. Pick Semenuk, all you guys. I know he's not going to win it because Josh Allen's definitely the front runner now, and you can't ignore Lamar because Lamar's numbers are insane.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So if he ends up winning, which I doubt that he will, I think that it's finally Josh
Lamar?
Allen. Yeah, I don't think he'll win.
Well, I think Allen has to fall apart, and he has to have like
the run.
The
run to end the season. The sad part is Joe Burrow is playing as good as any of those guys.
Well, he's going to win Offensive Player of the Year.
No, Saquon. If Saquon doesn't get MVP, he's got a chance at the Dickerson record. Oh, come on. First of all, you got to look at the record of the team. And look at your numbers. Joe Burrow is going to be pushed. Like, this is a waste of a season.
But Offensive Player of the Year has nothing to do with your record. It's just the most outstanding.
Then it'll be Barkley. He might rush for 2,000 yards.
Well, Burrow's also putting up tremendous numbers.
Oh, Burrow's is playing. I feel sorry for him and his receiving core, Higgins and Chase are having what they're saying in the last 50 years, nobody's had the offensive numbers that Cincinnati's had and missed the playoffs. In 50 years. It's something ridiculous. Like, when I heard that number, I went, what? 50 years?
They're a team that can't close out games.
No, but they're going to win going down. I think I've got them this weekend. I think that they're going to win decisively this weekend because Cleveland's just turned into a mess. They don't even know who's going to start. But let's go around the league and see what happened last week.
Yeah, so
this week.
First of all, there was that snooze fest on Thursday night last week. The Rams winning with no touchdowns scored.
Did you see the rain, though?
Still.
Oh, no, look, you see Stafford, he let 3 go. They slipped out of his hands. You got to go, what are you doing? Then I didn't realize how hard it was raining. Like, he missed Nakua twice. The ball sailed on him because it's soaking wet. I mean, they got a little bit together there, but the rain had a
Nakua still put up numbers.
Yeah, but they didn't close in the red zone.
No.
You know what I mean? But outside of that, I'm going, what a mess. And San Francisco's done. Too bad.
And they suspend Campbell for the remainder of the season.
The guy that quit?
Yeah.
He's going to be cut. He might not play football ever again.
Well, I heard there were some problems with him coming out of Green Bay. He had like an all-pro season his first year there. Yeah. But then his next season his next season there wasn't so good. And on the way out, he was kind of complaining about like, oh, the scheme sucks, like, and blah, 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 this and that.
No, you weren't playing good enough and you became a rotation guy. There's other guys that play situation. Okay, you could do it on the run. You couldn't do it on the pass. Go sit in the bench, collect your paycheck. That guy won't play again. Did you hear the scuttlebutt around the league? This guy just quit. I ain't playing. What? As I said, if you don't want to play like the guy in Buffalo that quit and retired, we never seen him again. Got it. Anthony Richardson got to catch his breath. He came back on. He's going to be fine. He learned his lesson. This mofo quit when 2 linebackers got hurt because he thought he should be playing instead of the other guy in the first place. What kind of teammate are you?
No, that's a bitch move.
Oh, capital B, capital I, capital T, the whole 9 yards. He'll never play in the NFL again.
I hope not.
No, he
UFL's
won't.
in his future?
CFL. CFL. That's what you got. I hope you got a passport, buddy.
Yeah.
and you ain't going to be making NFL money.
No.
You got enough to put gas in your Escalade. You better sell it, move down to a freaking Honda Civic.
I hear the Edmonton Elks need guys.
Oh, no, they just traded for an arm, remember? Oh, yeah, they do
no,
need
he's a
guys
linebacker.
Defense. Yeah, you're right, yeah. In any event, okay, keep going around the league. What surprised you last week?
Mark Andrews set the Baltimore record for career touchdowns.
Huge.
I did not even think he would be even close to that. I mean, I guess Baltimore's a newer team. They started fresh when they moved there from Cleveland, but
yeah. But the bottom line is, when you think about it, he had those years before Lamar had, because he's been around a while.
Yeah,
you keep forgetting about that. He had some Joe Flacco years, because he's been a solid tight end for his whole career. He's probably a Hall of Famer.
I would think so.
He's got to be close to Hall of Famer. Great for him, because he's been plagued by those crazy injuries. He missed 4 games here, 3 games here. But
for a while now, yeah.
That high pass that only a tall tight end can catch, Lamar throws that pass as good as anybody.
Yeah, he does.
You know.
Unfortunately for you, Montgomery is out indefinitely with an MCL injury.
Okay.
Sonic just lost his knuckles.
Okay, I'm going to put it this way. Everyone knows I'm a disciple of the Detroit Lions, and I think that we're going to grit it out, and I think that we're going to try to get there, and we're not going to go down without a fight. But in my history of watching football, for the 50 years I've been watching it, Detroit's running into a wall really fast, and that's what's scaring me. I think that
Peaking at the wrong time.
No, the injuries. It's just the injuries. But
I mean, you guys, I'm not so doom and gloom with this one though, because you guys have had running backs play roles before, like that guy who went to New Orleans. You never heard about him again after he went away from Detroit because he was away from the system. You guys have the system. I think you can have plug and play guys there
on offense, but people don't realize this. 7 of our starters that played week 1 are on IL or IR.
Yeah.
That's 7. That's not 2. That's not 3. And then the 2 backup guys got hurt. And then our 5th defensive lineman got hurt. So it's 12 guys that started or were in the rotation on a regular basis.
And I think it's double that on IR and just in total on your team.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So Ryan Clark put a great. I love what Ryan Clark has to say. I'm going to bring something up about that in a minute. But these guys were on the couch. They were working out in the gym. They were taking their kids to school in the morning. Now they're suddenly out there playing against Jordan Love and Josh Allen. Woo! Shit's going to happen. What was the score of that game? Because Buffalo's back end's in a little bit of trouble too. Highest scoring game in the NFL this year. And I love everything about MCDC, and I'm going to accept what he did. But I was cringing when he did that onside kick.
I honestly didn't hate that onside kick, to be honest.
I did. Too early for me.
But the way it was going, Josh Allen was cutting up your guys' defense.
I'm going to take my chances on waiting until later, because the worst case scenario happened on that onside kick. Even though it was a great onside kick. If it had been in the days that was a surprise, that would have been a whole different. Belichick was on this week. He says go back to that.
I hate the onside kick rules now.
It doesn't even make any sense. You know what's going to happen? You might as well kick it through the end zone, or you really think you're going to get it back? Now, like I said, last 5 minutes of the game, I'll go for it. We had 12 minutes left. We were only down by 10. You know what I mean? They scored that, and that took the air out of a crazy-ass game, by the way. Took the air right out of the balloon.
Yeah, because we're already down by 10. I think you guys were chasing it. I don't mind going for an aggressive move like that.
What if we had got a turnover? If we had to stop. I'm not saying we would have.
I don't know if that would have happened. I would have.
We got taken away from us, and I'm not taking anything away from MCDC for doing it, because that's what he's going to live. And the great way that I thought that it was looked at by a lot of skeptics was this: he took all the pressure off his defense.
100%.
That's a great coach. You know what I mean? He took it all on him. He said everything about it. And Brad Holmes, our Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator, he's going, hey man, we got guys schemed. We're coming back. They're not quitting. We got too much grit to do it. But I was more optimistic a month ago than I was right now. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think the entire football world was okay. Stanley, that's my hand you're biting there, buddy. You got to chill.
Stanley, I'm gonna be all right. Stanley.
Hey,
Stanley,
oh my
Stanley.
God.
Here, look, Stanley, he's now part of the show. Stanley, get over here. Hey. He's the guy he's playing like the Detroit Lions. Look at him go.
That's why I'm not wearing my best sweater here, because he's just biting on.
Stanley.
At least he's not biting down hard.
No, he's here. Stanley.
Go to Papa. Come on, go to Papa.
Come here. When all else fails, get treats. Stanley, come here.
I don't know if that's the best way to do it. But.
Oh, we've got him over here now. We can slow him down. But yeah, Detroit's in a little bit of trouble, and I'm really believing now that scares me is that Minnesota, who's still not in my top 5, and I still think they're a little fraudulent, but the difference is
I like them. I don't love them. But like once you get past,
good. Their schedule was good. They played. It
was like good, third place schedule, right?
Okay, and 2 years ago, remember that insane schedule? They got to the playoffs. They got bitch slapped when they got played by a good team. Is that going to happen to them again? They're going to lose at home first round of the playoffs. What if they get Green Bay?
Hey, come on, Stanley.
Okay, here, Stanley. Hey, Stanley. Oh, you're trouble, man. You want to play? Does Minnesota want to play Green Bay in the first round?
Well, they can't, but. Probably not. Well, never. I guess they'd have to win the division for that to happen.
Well, that means that.
Well, Green Bay, I've been to all year. They've been my dark horse.
I think Green Bay is a great team. If they went to the Super Bowl, I would not be surprised.
I'd be surprised if they went to the Super Bowl, especially since you'd have to get past like Philly, Green Bay, Minnesota.
And Detroit. No, they'll beat Minnesota. Minnesota's fraudulent. Did you hear me, Brady? Minnesota's fraudulent. You know what I mean? They beat the teams they're supposed to, and then, they've only lost 2 games. So they're a good team. Come on, and their defense is solid. But I think when it comes push come to shove against a really solid team, that they're not going to be around.
No.
That's the way I'm looking at it.
Well, I mean, we'll see. But
if I had a choice now before the playoffs started, who do I think is going to be going farther in the playoffs, Minnesota or Green Bay? And I hate them both.
Yeah.
Let's cut to the chase in this. I hate them both. But the bottom line is I would take Green Bay to go further than I would Minnesota.
Okay. The Chiefs finally covered last weekend in Cleveland, smacking them by 2 touchdowns.
And is Mahomes going to play?
Yes.
He practiced all week. Now,
yeah, he's going to play.
So they're going to have
He might not play Christmas.
Okay, is that the deal? Because if they win now, they'll pretty well clinch it. But Buffalo's going to run the table. They got to think about that because are they going to go to Buffalo or not if they have to go to the game? You know who's Buffalo's season ending against? New England twice in the Jets. That's 3 wins.
Should be 3
Should
wins.
Be wins. You know what I mean? Oh, look.
Okay, Stanley, buddy, you got to quit with the biting. I got to put a muzzle on you. You're going to look like Hannibal Lecter.
Yes, come here.
The Saints go for 2 and lose at home. I did not get that move. You're at home. Take your chances with the overtime.
I like that. It covered the spread.
I like that part of it.
That's the only part that was good. They covered the spread. What else are they going to do? And I think New Orleans has had a bump up, but they're not. They were good at home. I think, you know what? I would have went for the tie at home.
Exactly.
Tie at home. On the road, you go for it.
Agreed.
You know,
Jonathan Taylor's drop at the goal line, pretty much throwing that game away from that. Just blew all the momentum the Colts had in that game, and from a veteran player too, like Taylor. I like that he owned it at the end. But you can't be making that mistake, buddy.
A little too casual.
Way too casual.
And what have you done all season to be that casual?
I mean, nothing.
Great running back, by the way.
I love Jonathan Taylor.
You know what I mean?
The Colts are just a weird. I mean. Again, it kind of all comes back to ownership. They got a weird owner.
The bottom line with them is that they blew their chance to make the playoffs. They're not going to make it now. I mean, they're going to, you can't.
I know. Granted, they still have an easy schedule, and Denver has a tough one. But like everything's got to come up roses here.
And I don't think Denver's going to lose 2 of their last 3. You know what I mean? I don't think so. Their defense is solid. They were good against the Chargers. It's just that they left them out there too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when Bo Nix looked great. The adjustments that Harbaugh made on Nix in the second half was great. Because remember the first 3 drives, like Denver was doing what they wanted to.
Before we get that, though, so Tampa Bay slapped the Chargers at SoFi.
Yes.
But then they get the bounce back. What really changed that game around for me was that free kick at the end of the first half.
Oh,
did you know this is a rule?
Yes.
Okay, because I did not.
Like they said 50 years ago. Like I've seen it back in the day. A few people have tried it, but I thought that it's an interesting rule. It's an interesting rule.
I love it.
Well, Belichick said, I want to see more of that. So it was good with Bill. It's good with me. But
so I guess if you're fouled on a fair catch, what happens is that like you have the choice of either a free kick or just like a regular scrimmage, right?
A regular scrimmage.
Yeah.
And they got a guy with the leg.
And it's you can't block the free kick.
No.
So you can really like the kickers can really like unwind on it.
Yeah.
And like apparently guys can make it from like 65 yards out, these free kicks.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
The guy nailed it.
Oh, 100%.
Nailed it. No, that was a good call. It made a difference in the game, even though they got the late touchdown that really covered it. But that changed momentum of the game drastically.
Well, you took it from an 11-point game to an 8-point game going into halftime.
Exactly. Exactly. That's
And
huge.
I love Jim Harbaugh. He's my favorite Harbaugh brother. So
He got Michigan to the national championship. He's been to a Super Bowl.
he's got those glasses now, like, and he's super positive. He just looks like your grandpa now.
Oh, yeah. And you know what?
Stanley,
He's good.
come
Hey,
on.
Stanley, here. Stanley.
No, come on.
Gee, are we having a show today?
I know.
Are we not? Stanley.
This is the craziest you've been here, Stanley. You want to say something to people?
We're going to treat him our way through this, people. You know what I mean? We're going to treat our way through this, and you don't be such a guy. I got a bag here left. In any event.
Yeah, keeping our way going through the league. Tampa, no, I said that. Eagles.
Tampa's going to win their division?
Yeah. Atlanta. Whoa. So it's official now. Michael Penix Jr. will be starting over Kirk Cousins. And I just got the news this morning. Kirk Cousins is going to be cut this offseason.
$25 million. But they saved
Dumbest
money.
contract ever, though.
Okay, but they gambled on it. Now, what they're going to do is they can only have so much money. Like, they got to cut him because it's less money against the salary cap if they cut him or if they're not. Okay? You know what I mean? Stanley.
I got to, hold him off.
Look at him.
It's like wrestling a bear.
Oh, yeah. People, if you could see what's going on. Stanley, come here. We're trying to pacify him with a bag load of treats, which he's going to take quite generously.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Kirk Cousins, but this is at the end of the road because he's not getting any powers on his throw, which is shown.
Well, and they're also not exactly playing to his strengths. Like, what's he been best at before? Play action. They're not playing any play action.
Less percentage of play action passing that he's done in his career.
Which has been his bread and butter.
Exactly, but they played from behind, which has taken him out of that thing where they've known he's got to pass. His turnover ratio and fumbles is insane. What is it, 16 interceptions and 12 fumbles? It's just
That's
absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. In any event, as we go around the league and we take a look, things are starting
so Houston clinched the AFC South.
Yes.
Eagles beat the Steelers in a big game. Obviously.
Easy pick.
So we talked about, can the Colts get into the playoffs? Probably not.
Probably not.
No. Although the door is a crack open, I'd still give them a better chance than the Bengals and the Dolphins, even though they're all 6-8.
They all have to run the table, which is the only one that I look at their schedule I could say would convincingly run the table is Cincinnati.
No, I'd say the Colts have a better chance.
They got the better chance?
Yeah, because they play, who is it, Tennessee, I want to say the Jets.
And Jacksonville. I think they got Jacksonville.
Okay.
Stanley. Hey. Stanley. What a show. We're trying to get to the end, and we got complete mayhem. You guys would not believe what's going on. Stanley, get over here. Hey. Come here. Isn't this great? We're doing a show. We're trying to tell you what to do, and we love dogs, and my dog's completely losing his mind.
So one thing I also want to bring up is, can the Seahawks or the Rams, essentially whoever loses the NFC West battle, can they pass the Commanders for that final wildcard spot?
No, but I think the Commanders are the weakest 9-5 team I've ever seen in my life.
Trending that way.
Yeah, they're 100% doing that. They'll be a first-round casualty, but that'll still be a huge success for them, considering their history. So, and it's a great building block. But no, I don't.
Well, the recent history, yeah.
Yeah, because I think they got one more winnable game, and I think 10 games will get you in. That's been the statement around since about 6 weeks ago, and it looks like they're going to get their 10th game in.
Yeah.
So,
although Seattle is trending the
Geno
right way.
Smith is not looking like he's going to play. So who are they going to bring in that other? Yeah. So who they got? They got some bum I've never even heard of before. Who is it again? The quarterback?
I forgot his name.
Oh, I've never really heard of the guy. He's been a journeyman's journeyman. Okay, and I mean it was all because of salary cap purposes too that they had to go that way. So I think Seattle's done. I think Arizona was a fun little team to watch. And the Rams are going to win that division. San Francisco just had one of those bump in the roads.
Just like last time they lost in the Super Bowl.
Exactly. And you know what? San Francisco is going to come back right next year. They're going to be fine.
I think so, too.
Just once they get all their injuries back and everything gets mellow, they're going to be fine. It's just one of those seasons where shit got out of hand, unfortunately. You know what I mean? And when you look about it, when I'm talking about it, Detroit's just lucky that their injuries happened late. San Francisco's happened all early.
Yeah, and unraveled their entire season.
100%.
Speaking of San Fran, there's rumors all of a sudden that San Fran is going to trade head coach Shanahan for picks.
What do you think of that?
I don't know.
I think it's insane because...
Where's this starting from is my question.
The Gruden thing. That's what happened when Gruden
Yeah.
got the trade. So they're going to say that. First of all, the best thing I heard about this, have you seen the Shanahan tree of coaches
Oh, it's
around the tree?
insane.
So why would you take one of the best coaches, one of the smartest offensive minds in football, knows how to get a guy to run his defense, and you're going to trade him?
Yeah, I think
Who are you going to get to replace him?
I understand
You?
he's had some problems in the playoffs, especially once he's gotten to the Super Bowl. But, I mean, it could be a grass is always greener on the other side kind of scenario.
Andy Reid. Can anyone say Andy Reid?
Oh, like with the Eagles getting rid of him?
Yeah, what happened there? Okay, they did end up winning
They
the
end up
Super
with-
Bowl,
yeah.
okay, and that was a lot to do with Andy Reid built team. But the bottom line is, be careful what you wish for.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't believe Philadelphia fired Andy Reid at the time. I thought that was absolutely insane. What did he do to get fired? Oh, he just didn't get us the next step. Okay, what do you have? 5 NFC championship games, 9 years in a row with playoffs. He missed 1 year. Get rid of him. Okay, Philly got lucky, but then where does it go? They've been through what? 2 coaches since then? 3?
Yeah, because they had, what's his name, Chip there.
Yeah, for 1 second, and he got bounced, and then they got the guy that's in Jacksonville. I'm forgetting his name.
Doug Peterson, who won them a Super Bowl.
Won the Super Bowl, and now they got
Sirianni.
Sirianni. So that's 3 coaches since then after they had a coach for 15 years. A lot of teams say this is the biggest problem in the NFL. If you got to dig in now, they're talking about the models that are being looked at the most. The Detroit model's one, and the Tampa Bay is the other one. Tampa Bay just had a coaching change the last couple of years, but that was due to attrition, and the guy was getting old. But you have to stick to a 5-year plan.
Mm-hmm.
If you change it every 2 years, you become the New York Jets.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Now, the question is, Aaron Rodgers, one of the most polarizing guys in the NFL, a lot of interesting things have happened this week because Aaron Rodgers has a platform on the Pat McAfee show. So, there's been some huge pissing matches going on, starting with Ryan Clark, who's a great analyst, as they're saying, who's right or wrong? You heard the statement that Aaron Rodgers said, right? He gets picked on by a lot of analysts, and his thing was, hey, you guys, we're never going to even remember what your careers are. You just got famous because you got on the air saying asinine things. The kickback from Ryan Clark is, my job is supposed to analyze what you're doing, and I think you suck. So it's gone back and forth. By the way, McAfee pays Rodgers to go on TV.
No, he doesn't.
Doesn't?
No, they said on the show this week, he's like, I don't get paid to come on this show.
I heard he did. So he did admit he's not getting paid.
He's not getting paid.
Because him and McAfee has gotten along for years, right? J.J. Watt getting paid?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing it for free.
I
don't know.
I heard there's a stipend involved because especially with McAfee went through the roof with this new contract that he has the ability to pay guys. Like I heard he was paying Lombardi.
Maybe he is paying Watt then.
I think that he's paying one. It's not $1 million, and they enjoy doing it. But I mean, they got to take time out of their week. Time is money.
Sure.
So you know what I mean. And so Aaron Rodgers said he's not getting paid.
He is saying he's not getting paid.
Wow, I did not. Anyway, the argument between them is this: how much room does a former athlete on a panel talking about other players? Where do you give them credibility, and how far can they go? My question is, they can go as far as they want. If they look and they see something on the field and they say, here's what I think I'm doing, then that's part of the learning experience for the fan. Don't you think? So Aaron Rodgers can have his opinion. Ryan Clark can have his opinion. It's not going to change my pro line picks. It's not going to affect my parlay. It's just a bunch of fodder for all these guys to have a big pissing match and get themselves more known on TV on both sides of the fence.
Speaking of the Jets, what do you think of all stuff coming out about their owner blocking trades or trying to block moves because of Madden? So they blocked the move to get Jared Jeudy from the Broncos because his Madden rating was too
low.
high.
Now imagine him; they could have used him.
His rating wasn't even low; it was an 81. That's not bad.
You know what? I think that this guy's been pulling out straws for so long that he doesn't know what to do anymore, and now he's involved more in politics, which tells a question. You say
he's been involved in politics before too.
Yeah. Do you think that? So you're saying Aaron Rodgers will not be playing for the Jets next year?
100% not.
No guaranteed money, so it's going to be there. So what do? They're back to square one.
I think they're going to look at the draft.
There's nobody in the draft.
Cam
I'm
Ward.
telling you. then he's got to sit 1 year behind Rodgers. It'd be better to have Rodgers 1 year and have him teach for 1 year. It's been proven.
Maybe it's going to be better, but the way it's going with rookie quarterbacks this year, it's a copycat league, remember?
Okay, so
the Jets are going to be like, other teams are having good rookie quarterbacks. Why can't we?
Okay, so look at the...
This has been the year of the rookie quarterback.
Okay, let's look at it. Caleb Williams has not been nearly as good as advertised because he got pushed into the
But the other three have gotten better as the weeks have gone on. Jaden,
it's got a little
Drake
bit better,
May,
but he's still there.
And Bo Nix.
Drake May and Bo Nix are the guys that you can bring out the most. But did they start the beginning of the season? No.
Bo Nix did.
No, he didn't start right away.
Are you sure?
No, I think they had the other guy starting, and then he came along afterwards. He sat for a couple.
I'm pretty
games.
sure Bo started
Did
the
he
whole
start
way.
all the way? But the thing about him, though, is he had, 60 starts in college? Which is another huge difference. And the guy's 25 years old.
Sure.
He's not a young guy, so I get it on there. But these young guys, if you look around the league, what everyone's done, the Jordan Loves, the Patrick Mahomes, the Lamar Jacksons, not so much Josh Allen. He got thrown to the Lions, and he just had the natural talent to get to where he is today. But the thing is they say the speed of the NFL game is so much faster that kids have got to adjust. So this is an anomaly year. Look at the year when Baker Mayfield and all those come in.
I get that, but but this is also under the presumption that the Jets are a stupid organization.
Okay, got you. I can't deny that. Are they now the longest without making the playoffs in the NFL?
Yes.
They're the longest.
Them and the Buffalo Sabres are tied for longest playoff droughts in North American sports.
In the North American sports. Okay, so I don't know. Do you think Aaron Rodgers will play again next year for a team at 40 years old?
I'm 50-50 on that.
He won't get the money, but I mean, he can still.
It's not about the money for him at this point.
Okay, but the numbers aren't that bad. If you look at the
No,
numbers,
they're not.
They're not that bad, and they've had some circumstances where they lost the game. It wasn't because of him.
No,
missed
of course
field
not.
goal, bad play by the defense, whatever. I'm
Getting
not
rid
saying
of the coach at the wrong time.
Okay, let's just keep adding it up. But I'm saying that Aaron Rodgers, when the season is done, has looked better than people are putting him out to be. Not that I'm the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan in the world. I'll tell you how Aaron. I'll tell you. Okay, Stanley, come here. I'll tell you how Aaron Rodgers works and how football works, okay? What does my wife know about football?
Not much, I'm assuming.
Okay, she knows a little bit. Anyways, there's a new Aaron Rodgers documentary on Netflix.
Yes, there is.
So my wife watched it. I haven't watched it. And now she's got a new admiration for Aaron Rodgers. Why? She hasn't seen him play lately? Come on. Not that he's playing bad. Stanley.
I'm wrestling this mini bear that you got here. Okay, don't press that, buddy.
Here. Stanley, come here.
He's trying to be a DJ. I think he wants to.
Oh,
No.
Here, you got to come here.
I think he's auditioning for the role of producer.
Or definitely a technical engineer of some sort. But in any event, I don't know if Rodgers is going to be back. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I think he's extremely opinionated. I'm glad that he came up with some of the opinions that he did at the time because I tended to agree with him. As for a football player, I never liked the guy because he played for Green Bay. Let's cut to the chase on that. But it's interesting that somebody's so polarizing with such an opinion and it gets into the press and the other side of the press gets into it and we end up talking about it. It's really crazy. So enough talking about those guys. Let's get down to bare facts.
Yes. Well, we need to get moving to our picks. We're already we're almost 3 hours in.
Are we really?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get out of here.
Yeah. So, okay, Stanley, you need to stop, buddy. So last week you beat me. You had a very good week. You got 12 picks right. I got 10. On the season, you have 6 wins. I have 3, and we have tied 5 weeks.
Okay, Stanley.
Okay, Stanley, you gotta stop biting, buddy.
He thinks you love him for that, eh?
For the biting?
Yeah, he thinks you love him. Okay, are we ready to make our picks?
No. Okay, Stanley.
Stanley, come here. Hey, buddy. We're almost done. Stanley.
No.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, on the bandstand, are you ready? Stanley, get over here. Hey. Come here. One of the most interesting shows we've had in quite some time, and we knew this could be a calamity, moving to Cruz's chaos, and we're getting chaos at the ultimate time.
Absolutely.
Okay. All righty, so we ready to make our picks?
Yes, there's just one I got to fix.
I know what mine are, but I just haven't. I thought I had a list down. I'm pretty sure I got a list down anyway.
Okay, you ready?
Yes, we are.
So we were both on the Chargers, and they were favored by 3. They got the win there, and they covered.
Yes, very good.
First up, Houston Texans at the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 3 points at home. I'm going to choose Houston to cover.
I've been on this all day, and I was worried about the injury for
Mahomes,
but they've got Carson Wentz, who would be a great backup in Andy Reid's Singh. I don't think that Houston has the moxie to be playing in a dome to go outside in a cold night. Cold afternoon today. Isn't it this afternoon?
Yeah, it's on right now, actually.
Oh, is it? Why aren't we on?
Because we can't spoil it. We're doing our picks.
Okay, right. I wish I recorded it. Okay, anyways, I'm taking Kansas City.
All right. Next up is, and these are the 4 teams playing on Christmas, are all playing today, actually. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Baltimore's favored by 6 at home, even though Lamar has always struggled against Pittsburgh. I'm going to choose Pittsburgh to win on the road outright.
What? You're taking Pittsburgh outright?
Yeah.
I'll take a beer. I take Baltimore to cover, win by 10.
Even though Lamar sucks against Pittsburgh.
No, that's got to change. That every once 20 games, it's got to change. Okay.
Cleveland at Cincinnati. Cincinnati is favored by 9 points at home. I can see them winning this by 2 touchdowns. It's going to be the Bengals.
I'm taking the Bengals, too. The spread went up to 9?
Yeah.
Wow.
New York Giants at the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons favored by 8 points at home. I don't think it matters who Atlanta puts in at quarterback. Giants suck and they're tanking. Give me the Falcons.
I'm of the belief that I'm worried about a rookie quarterback in his first start.
But the Giants suck.
Got to take Atlanta. It's in Atlanta, too, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, okay.
Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears. Lions favored by 6.5 on the road. Give me the home dog. I don't know if Chicago wins, but I think they cover.
I'll get back to you.
No, we got to pick now.
Okay, I'm going to take the Lions.
Oh, you changed your pick.
I might take them in the pick 'em pool. I might change because I got an hour to do that. So I'll take Detroit.
Tennessee at Indianapolis.
Indy all day.
Favored by 3.5 at home. I'm on Indy as well.
Will Levis is just blowing it for everybody. Mason Plumlee's starting.
I have a friend who says he's not that bad.
I thought
he's going to lose. I don't think he's going to be back as a starter next year.
What's that?
He's going to lose his job as a starter.
I think he's going to be a year away, and he's going to do a Geno Smith thing in a couple of years. Guy's got a lot of talent. He just hasn't.
Between the ears.
Got to learn.
Arizona at Carolina. Arizona is favored by 4.5 on the road. I'm going to choose Cardinals.
I have to, too, because I think that they're going to make a run, even though they've been terrible on the road. And I have to be very close about this because in the pick 'em pool I have to be careful. But I do believe I'm going to take Arizona.
Philadelphia at Washington. Philly's favored by 3.5 on the road.
10.
I think they're going to smash. Yeah.
10.
We're both on Philly.
10, yeah.
LA Rams at the New York Jets. Rams favored by 3 on the road. I think they smash here. Give me the Rams.
I'm not saying they're smashing, but the Rams need the win. And the problem is it's outside depending on the weather. I got to take my boy Matt Stafford. He can't afford to lose.
And the Jets suck. Let's be real.
They're not as bad as people are saying.
What's the record?
Their record's pretty brutal, but look at their point differential isn't ridiculous. If they were to pull this game off, I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think they will. Minnesota at Seattle. Minnesota is favored by 3 points on the road. I'm going to choose the home dog, Seattle.
Really?
Yeah.
Taking Mini all day. Geno Smith might not even play.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
New England at Buffalo. Buffalo's favored by 14 points at home. I think that spread's way too big. Give me the Patriots.
I say they win by more.
Oof. Cruz, I thought you were my friend.
Sorry, you're taking that because you're New England.
Oh, and also I should mention before, Cleveland, Cincinnati, recent history says to pick the Bengals in that game. They've won by, I think, by an average of like 12 or 13 points at home against Cleveland recently.
Myles Garrett's a little bit pissed off. He's going to be making business decisions instead of making plays.
I don't know about that. Have you seen him on the Hard Knocks? He's been saying, like, guys, this is the time, like, we got to play for...
Oh, no, I love him on my team. I really do. Like, why wouldn't you want a Myles Garrett? Like, he's a total team player, and he performs. I love the guy. Stanley, we're almost done.
Jacksonville at Vegas. This one moved back and forth. It was a pick-em at one point, but now Vegas favored by 2.5 at home. I'm going to choose Jacksonville.
Me too. No quarterback on the Rams. Desmond Ridder, he looked terrible. Ritter, he looked terrible.
San Fran at Miami. Miami's favored by 1.5 at home. I think they're going to win by a lot more than that.
I do too. We're taking a lot of picks the same.
Tampa Bay at Dallas. Tampa Bay favored by 4 points on the road, but I think they're going to win by 10 or more. Dallas has been brutal at home this year.
This is the time for them to rise up, but I got to take Tampa Bay too. I'm so worried about some of these weird games because what do they mean? Like the Jets, it means more to the Rams. Are they going to steal a game? Dallas steal a game from Tampa Bay, even though Tampa Bay needs it to win the division. But I'm going to go with the favorites.
And last but not least, New Orleans at Green Bay. Green Bay is favored by 13.5 At home, I think that's a pretty safe bet. Give me the Packers.
I do too. And all you people out there that are scared of the high spreads and you don't take them, you get burned. That's your problem. A lot of people were afraid to take Baltimore last week. I didn't even hesitate. What was it, 14.5, 15.5?
They were favored by 16, and we were both. I think we both said they'd win by 20.
Yeah, and they just absolutely killed them.
All right, best of luck to you, sir.
You too.
The spreads are not out, I guess, for the Christmas Day ones. We'll just do that midweek. We might do a little video on social media for that.
That sounds 100% like we will be doing it, okay?
And it is time to basically move it to trivia.
Yes.
Steven, once again, thank you very much for providing another wonderful round of the House That Happens trivia. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Which two AFC West teams haven't scored over 30 points this season? If you've been paying attention, you should know this.
AFC West?
Yeah.
Hasn't scored 30 points? Chargers? AFC West. That's Kansas City and Oakland.
No. You got one right.
I got Chargers right?
No. It's Raiders and Chiefs.
Oh, it is the Raiders and Chiefs, eh? Yeah. Chiefs haven't scored 30? I forgot about that. Yeah,
that's been the big stat that everyone's been saying this week.
That's a trick question. Hey, Steven, you tricked me. I forgot all about Kansas City not scoring 30. I should have known that. It's been mentioned 20 times all year. You know what I mean?
Also, Cruz, while we were recording, one of your worst fears just came true.
What?
The New York Yankees signed Paul Goldschmidt, 1-year deal worth $12.5 million.
Oh, why can't we do that? You know, he'd be great at the Dome. Okay.
We don't really have a spot to play him, though, that's the thing.
DH.
Yeah, well.
DH.
I don't think
let the Yankees load up on us, bro. That's a problem.
I don't disagree with that, but the Jays need to be getting other guys.
Yes.
Either way, that's pretty much the end of our show, Cruz. I wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas. All the best, health, and everything.
Yes, okay.
Be safe.
Okay, now I'm just going to say this. Peace and love to everybody on the planet, okay? Stanley, come here. Stanley, come here. Okay? Stanley, come here. Come here. Okay, we like to do this for the House That Happens. It goes like this. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. That's enough. To each and every family out there that's been listening to us and everybody, the thing that we wish for every year and it never happens, but wouldn't world peace be the greatest present we could give to the planet today?
Absolutely.
And that's what we're looking for. A special shout out to your family, your mom and dad. Big, big Merry Christmas to Radica. And thanks for the candles. We're a candle house. The girls are going to like it very much. Merry Christmas and a happy Hanukkah to everybody. And please be safe when you're out there.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Anything else you'd like to bring to the table?
That's just about it.
The great thing about the House That Happens is you don't realize how long it is till you listen to the whole thing, and you listen to it because we're smooth, fun, and informative. Is that the way you put it?
Absolutely.
In any event, my name is Cruz.
And I'm Andrew Milani.
What do we do?
We keep the vibe alive. You can find The House That Happens on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeart Radio, Player FM, Samsung, Podchaser, Boomplay, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The House That Happens, and follow us on Twitter at House Happens. You can also shoot us an email at thehousethathappens@gmail.com.